Imagine this, you're a kid with your first Pokémon, wide-eyed and ready to conquer the world. Suddenly, a shadowy figure in a black uniform swoops in, snatches your buddy right out from under you, and vanishes into the night with a sinister laugh. Prepare for trouble and make it double. Sound familiar? That's the raw terror of Team Rocket, the original bad guys who turned Pokémon battles into a high-stakes crime thriller. But here's the kicker. They weren't alone. Over 25 years and 9 generations of games, anime, manga and spin-offs, Pokémon has unleashed a parade of villainous teams, each more twisted, ambitious, and downright diabolical than the last. From petty thieves plotting world domination to eco-terrorists hell-bent on drowning continents, emotionless overlords dreaming of a universe without feelings, and even fashion-forward fanatics engineering mass extinctions. These aren't just comic relief grunts in goofy uniforms. They're architects of apocalypse, manipulators of legendaries, and mirrors to our own world's darkest ideologies. Welcome to the complete story of every evil team, from Rocket to Team Star. Buckle up, because we're not skimming surface-level plots or fan theories. We're dissecting origins, unraveling betrayals, exposing hidden agendas, and connecting the dots across regions, timelines, and even multiverses. By the end, you'll see why these teams aren't just villains. They're the heartbeat of Pokémon's storytelling evolution, pushing heroes like Red Ash and Yew to their limits. Let's set the stage. It all kicks off in Kanto, 1996, with the birth of Team Rocket. Led by the enigmatic Giovanni, this crime syndicate wasn't messing around. Pokémon were merchandise. Rare ones fetched top dollar on the black market. Their motto, steal 'em all, exploit 'em hard, and climb to total domination. Remember the Silph Co takeover? Rockets blasting through Saffron City, Mewtwo's explosive debut, and that iconic bike gang chase? It was gritty, it was personal, and it made every wild encounter feel dangerous. Rocket set the template. Flashy uniforms, bumbling grunts for comic relief, but a core of elite operatives like Archer, Ariana, Proton, and Petrel, pulling strings for cash, power, and Giovanni's fossil-fueled dreams. Fast forward to Hoenn, and things get elemental. Enter Team Aqua and Team Magma, rival eco-fanatics with gods on speed dial. Aqua's Archie wants to flood the world, awakening Kyogre to expand the oceans into a watery paradise. Magma's Maxi counters with Groudon's landmass expansion, turning seas to dust. These guys weren't subtle. Primal reversals, volcanic eruptions, mega tsunamis, the stakes escalated from theft to terraforming. And that twist, both leaders blind to the chaos their legendaries unleash, too obsessed with balance to see the end times they're brewing. Hoenn's teams flipped the script, villainy with a philosophy, uniforms that scream tribal warfare, and battles that literally reshape the map. Then Sinnoh hits, and Pokémon goes cosmic. Team Galactic, under the icy Cyrus, isn't after money or land. They want to erase the universe and rebuild it emotion-free. No joy, no pain. Just perfect order. Dialga and Palkia twisted into time-space weapons, Darkrai experiments, the Distortion World showdown, Galactic's sleek, dystopian aesthetic, and Cyrus's Nietzschean rants made them philosophers in lab coats. It was the first time a villain felt truly unhinged, like a cult leader with supercomputers and legendaries as sacraments. Unova cranked the deception. Team Plasma preached Pokémon liberation. Free them from cruel trainers, led by the charismatic N, a boy raised by Pokémon. Heartstrings tugged, right? Wrong. Behind the Sage 7 and that noble facade lurked Ghetses, the real puppet master, plotting a Pokémon monopoly. Reshiram and Zekrom divided, ideals corrupted. Plasma's arc was a masterclass in propaganda, betrayal, and what happens when freedom fighters become tyrants. Kalos brought glamour to genocide. Team Flare, dressed like supermodels from a cyberpunk runway, chased Lissandra's beautiful world. Their secret, an ancient weapon powered by life energy, designed for mass extinction, sparing only Flare's elite. Cernius and Yveltal clash, AZ's 3,000-year grudge revealed. Flair was vanity weaponized, blending high fashion with Holocaust vibes. Alola shook it up. No traditional gyms, no evil team takeover. At first. Team Skull? Punk rock delinquents shaking down tourists for pocket change, led by the surprisingly chill Guzma. Petty chaos, not planetary doom. But the real shadow? The Ether Foundation, pristine white labs hiding Lucamine's obsession with ultra beasts. She rips open wormholes, unleashing Nihiligo horrors, mommy issues on a multiversal scale. Ultra Sun and Moon, Rainbow Rocket. Giovanni from a conquered timeline unites Rocket, Aqua, Magma, Galactic, Plasma, and Flare bosses for multiverse mayhem. It's fan service on steroids, with mega evolutions, Z moves, and a boss rush that screams, "What if they won?" Gala's Twist, Macrocosmos, corporate giant led by the well-meaning but reckless Chairman Rose. Energy Crisis Solution, Unleash Eternatus, risk Darkest Day Apocalypse, no grunts, just suits and Dynamax disasters. Team Yell, just rowdy Marnie fans causing traffic jams. Evil? Nah, enthusiastic. Paldea caps it with Team Star, dropout kids in a school rebellion, bases blasting music, Pokémon raids as protest. Bullies push them here, nuisance level, zero apocalypses. Modern Pokémon flips the formula. See the pattern? Early gens, straight up crime waves to world conquest. Mid-games, ideologues twisting nature, emotions, beauty into doomsday cults. Now, villains hide in plain sight. Corporations, foundations, misunderstood teens tackling bullying, identity, belonging. Pokemon's evil teams evolved with us, from cartoon crooks to social commentaries. They've kidnapped legendaries, cracked reality, faked charities, and mirrored real threats like environmental extremism, cults, and corporate overreach. But why does this matter? These teams aren't filler. They force protagonists to grow. Red crushes Rocket's empire, May outsmarts dual disasters, Dawn thwarts universal reset, Hilbert exposes Plasma's con. They've inspired spin-offs like Pokémon Go's Team Instinct, Valor, Mystic Echoes, anime arcs, TCG sets. And the connections? Giovanni's multiverse jaunt, recurring sages, legendaries recycled as pawns. It's one interconnected saga. This video, your ultimate playbook. We'll trace every team's full lore, from in-game plots to manga divergences, anime adaptations, developer interviews. Timelines synced, betrayals unpacked, what-ifs explored. Did you know Rocket's roots tie to ancient Kanto mafias? Or Flair's weapon predates Carlos' history? Secrets like that, plus rankings, battles breakdowns, and who's the evilest debates. Grab snacks, smash like if you're Team Rocket at heart, subscribe for more Pokémon epics, hit notifications, we're diving deep. From Viridian shadows to Paldean protests, the evil team's complete story starts now. We've hooked you, now let's rocket into Chapter 1, the birth of Team Rocket, the rise of Pokémon's ultimate villains. Every single Pokémon game you've ever played features one undeniable truth. Shadowy organizations lurk in the shadows, plotting against the world you love. These aren't just side quests or comic relief. They're the ultimate antagonists, the evil teams that drive the heart-pounding stakes of Pokémon lore. From the very first games, they've been there, challenging your journey, stealing Pokémon, and threatening everything trainers hold dear. But here's what makes them unforgettable. They started small, with petty crimes like theft and extortion, and evolved into forces capable of unraveling the entire universe. Think about it. You start your adventure innocent, picking your starter, dreaming of badges and battles, and then bam, these villains crash the party. Team Rocket kicks it off in Kanto and Johto, a classic crime syndicate dressed in sharp black uniforms, blasting off with stolen Pokémon to fuel their empire of money and raw domination. They're the mob bosses of the Pokémon world, running underground operations, cloning legendaries like Mewtwo for profit, and muscling in on every gym leader's turf. You fight grunts in back alleys, dismantle their hideouts, but their leaders? Giovanni, with his Persian at his side, always one step ahead, scheming for total control. It's straightforward evil, the kind that makes your blood boil because it hits close to home, stealing your hard-earned partners right out from under you. But Pokémon doesn't stay that simple. Fast forward to Hoenn, and the threats double down. Team Aqua and Team Magma aren't just thieves. They're eco-terrorists with god complexes. Aqua wants to awaken Kyogre, the legendary sea beast, to flood the world and expand the oceans until land is a distant memory. Magma counters with Groudon, aiming to scorch the planet dry and make every inch terra firma. You pick sides at first thinking one must be good, but no, they're both fanatics, submerging islands or igniting volcanoes just to reshape the globe in their image. Imagine surfing through tidal waves caused by their meddling or dodging lava flows in the dead of night. What starts as rival gang wars escalates to near apocalypse, forcing you to dive into ancient submarine lairs and volcanic craters to stop them. These teams prove villains aren't content with pocket change anymore. They're playing with primal forces that could drown or burn civilization. You'd think that piques the danger, right? Wrong. Sinnoh cranks it to cosmic levels with Team Galactic. Led by the ice-cold Cyrus, they're not after money or territory. They want to remake existence itself. Picture this. A cult of spacemen in grey suits, building a giant spaceship called the Spear Pillar to summon Dialga and Palkia, the lords of time and space. Cyrus despises human emotions, calling them flaws that breed conflict. His plan? Shatter the universe into nothingness and rebuild an emotionless paradise where Pokémon and people coexist in sterile perfection. You infiltrate their headquarters on a foggy mountaintop, battle commanders obsessed with stars and distortion worlds, and confront Cyrus atop the pillars as reality frays at the edges. It's not crime, it's philosophical annihilation. One wrong move, and poof, your timeline, your memories, gone. Unova takes it darker, blending deception with ideology. Team Plasma preaches liberation, marching with their sigil of a broken Pokeball, demanding trainers free their Pokémon. Sounds noble, doesn't it? You might even sympathize at rallies where they release their own partners dramatically. But peel back the mask and it's Getsy's pulling strings, a master manipulator with his Hydra-like Hydreigon, aiming for a monopoly on all Pokémon power. Publicly, they shatter Pokeballs. Privately, they hoard legendaries like Reshiram and Zekrom to conquer. You chase them across a region inspired by New York, exposing lies in castle ruins and frozen fortresses. It's your first taste of villains who weaponize morality, making you question if you're the real oppressor. How do you fight an enemy that steals your ideals? Carlos pushes the envelope further with Team Flare, the stylish killers in red suits chasing a beautiful world. Led by Lysandra, a charismatic billionaire, they wield an ancient weapon called the Ultimate Weapon, powered by life energy from Xerneas or Yveltal. Their vision? Trigger mass extinction, wiping out the ugly masses to let a select elite thrive in paradise. You storm their geodesic dome headquarters, uncovering labs draining life force worldwide. It's genocide, dressed as art, with scientists justifying horror in the name of aesthetics. By now, you're not just battling grunts, you're racing against a doomsday clock that could erase billions. These early and mid-game villains form the backbone of Pokémon's antagonist evolution. But notice the pattern. They begin with Rocket's street-level hustles, muggings, smuggling, prepare for trouble theatrics, and balloon into universe-ending cataclysms. Petty theft morphs into planetary reconfiguration, then reality warping, ideological purges, and extinction events. Each generation ups the ante, making you feel the growing dread. You're no longer a kid stopping bullies, you're the planet's last hope against gods and madmen. Yet as the series matures, something shifts. The lines blur into moral grey areas, and evil teams start to misdirect. Alola's team, Skull looks the part, punk delinquents in bone-white gear, shaking down shops for pocket money, blasting rap battles from boomboxes. Led by the Guzma with his hulking Gallisopod, they're more nuisance than nightmare, products of broken homes crashing luxury resorts. You dismantle their shabby shady house on Po Town, but it's almost pitiful. No world domination, just aimless rebellion. Then there's the real threat, Ether Paradise, disguised as a benevolent conservation foundation. President Lusamine smiles sweetly, protecting Pokémon, or so it seems. Her obsession cracks open ultra wormholes, unleashing nightmarish ultra beasts into reality. You dive through dimensions to her private menagerie, where she's fusing with Nihiligo, high on otherworldly toxins, its hidden villainy, beauty masking madness. Galar keeps the twist. Macrocosmos, chaired by the well-meaning Rose, promises energy solutions but unleashes Eternatus, a dinosaur of pure destruction, risking darkest day chaos across stadiums. Team Yell, just rowdy fans in yellow cheering their idol Marnie. Hooligans, not horrors. Paldea's team? Star hides in schoolyard bases, a crew of bullied outcasts fighting back against academy elites. Led by figures like Ortega and Eri, they're misunderstood rebels causing traffic jams with their terror raids, grappling with identity and belonging rather than bombs. No apocalypses here. It's social commentary wrapped in Pokémon battles. See the rise? Early gens deliver clear-cut villainy. Crime syndicates graduating to world takeover, then universe remake. Mid-games introduce ideological crusades, liberation facades, beauty through slaughter, emotionless utopias. Recent eras flip the script. Overt teams distract from subtler foes like obsessive foundations or energy moguls, while many skew toward human struggles, delinquency, fanaticism, trauma. These antagonists aren't static foes anymore. They mirror our world, gangs born from greed, zealots from warped ideals, even anti-heroes from pain. You battle them, but do you ever wonder if some had a point? Plasma's call for freedom haunts you long after N's defeat. Flair's disdain for overpopulation lingers. Skull's kids just wanted respect. This evolution keeps you hooked, doesn't it? Every game redefines evil, forcing you to grow with it. From rocket grunts vanishing on jetpacks to Cyrus staring into the void, the scale explodes, but the grey areas pull you deeper emotionally. You're not just winning badges, you're navigating philosophy, ethics, survival. What if Giovanni succeeded? Would Kanto be a Pokémon black market dystopia? Imagine Kyogre's floods swallowing Lily Cove City, or Galactic's new world without laughter, love, or rivalry. These teams aren't filler. They're the pulse of Pokémon lore antagonists who make your victories legendary. And it all traces back to one origin point. The blueprint for every scheme, every doomsday device, every moral quandary starts right there in the shadows of Kanto. Up next, we dive into Team Rocket's criminal empire begins, where a certain trio's rhymes hide the birth of Pokémon's most iconic underworld. How did a band of thieves become the template for galactic threats? You won't want to miss the secrets that launched it all. Team Rocket's criminal empire begins. In the heart of Kanto, where bustling cities meet misty forests, Team Rocket didn't just emerge. They exploded onto the scene as the most ruthless crime syndicate the region had ever seen. Giovanni, their enigmatic leader, wasn't born into power. He clawed his way up from the underground gambling dens of Celadon City, turning a network of smugglers and thieves into a machine that preyed on the one thing every trainer held dear: their Pokémon. You know how it feels to bond with your first partner, that unbreakable trust built through battles and adventures. Now imagine waking up to find it gone, snatched in the dead of night by operatives in crisp black uniforms. That's the reality Giovanni's empire enforced from day one. Their origins trace straight back to Kanto's underbelly, where rare Pokémon, like the elusive Dratini or the majestic Lapras, became prime targets. Giovanni's syndicate didn't waste time on common Rattata or Pidgey. No, they went for the prizes, the ones that could fetch fortunes on the black market or power their own operations. Operation in action. A squad of rocket grunts infiltrates a remote breeding centre on Route 24, using smoke balls to disorient the staff, while their Pokémon, like Sneaky Coughing and Hulking Rhyhorn, smash through fences. They net a clutch of Eevee eggs, destined for forced evolutions into the rarest forms. Vaporeon for underwater heists, Jolteon for electrocuting security systems. Why profit, pure and simple? Giovanni saw Pokémon not as companions, but as commodities. Steal them young, train them harshly, and sell them to corrupt gym leaders or foreign buyers willing to pay top dollar. But it wasn't just theft for cash. Giovanni's genius lay in exploitation. Those stolen Pokémon? They fueled Team Rocket's signature tactics, turning living beings into tools for domination. Take their battle labs hidden in Saffron City's back alleys. Their captured Tauros were pitted against each other in underground fights, bets raking in millions, while the losers were discarded like trash. Or consider the fossil revival scam on Cinnabar Island. Giovanni's men dug up ancient amber and helix fossils, revived them into Homanite and Kabuto, then unleashed them on rival poachers to clear territory. Every raid, every snatch built his empire, brick by Pokémon. You might wonder, how did they get away with it for so long? Stealth and scale. Rocket had informants in every Pokémon Center, from Viridian's own gym to the elite ranks of the Indigo League. A tip about a trainer boasting a shiny Charmeleon on the road from Pallet Town. Grunts swarm in, deploy a Master Ball from the shadows, and poof, gone. The trainers left with a ransom note demanding rare candies or a rival Pokémon in trade. Refuse? Your buddy ends up in a rocket warehouse, electrodes wired to its body for motivation during forced training sessions. Giovanni himself oversaw the big scores. Remember the Sylph Cobra takeover in Saffron? That was no random hit. His syndicate had been siphoning tech from there for months. Porygon prototypes reprogrammed to hack League databases, tracking every rare sighting across Kanto. But let's zoom in on their early days, before the headlines. In the foggy routes around Cerulean, Rocket targeted the Nugget Bridge for Psyduck smugglers. They'd pose as travelling performers, Meowth juggling to distract, then Zubat swarms paralysing guards. Those Psyduck, shipped to Giovanni's game corner in Celadon, where slot machines hid elevators to secret pens. Gamblers lost their savings, unaware they were funding an army. Exploitation went deeper than theft. Giovanni pioneered Pokémon black market auctions, held in the depths of Rocket hideout beneath the Celadon casino. Elite bidders from Johto and beyond bid on genetically tweaked specimens, Gyarados bred for hyper-aggression, using stolen dragon scales to boost power. One infamous lot, a trio of legendary bird captures attempted near the Seafoam Islands. Articuno's feather alone sold for enough to buy a fleet of smuggling subs. And the profit? It bankrolled everything from bribery to tech R&D, like the ultimate Pokeball prototypes that could capture even legendaries mid-flight. Trainers started whispering about it. Saw a black R on a balloon over Pewter, one would say, in the Fuchsia Safari Zone. Heard my Bulbasaur's cousin got nabbed near Moon. Fear spread faster than a parasect infestation. Giovanni's motto wasn't just a jingle, it was a promise. Prepare for trouble, because they'd steal your pride, make it double by hitting your friends next. Their uniforms, those iconic R's, became symbols of terror. Kids in Pallet Town slept with their Pokeballs under pillows. Gym leaders like Brock beefed up security with onyx barriers. Even Professor Oak issued warnings, report any suspicious activity. These aren't pranksters, they're predators. What made Team Rocket unstoppable early on was their hierarchy. Grunts at the bottom, cannon fodder with Zubats and Rattata, then admins like Archer, devising heists with cold precision. And Giovanni at the apex, a gym leader by day, kingpin by night. Viridian Gym, his front. Challengers battled his Persian, never suspecting the gym's trophy wall hid maps to raid sites. He exploited Kanto's own systems. Leagues focused on tournaments, ignoring the shadows. But ruthlessness has a way of backfiring, and their first major clash lit the fuse. Lavender Town's Pokémon Tower, that eerie spire haunted by grieving spirits. What started as whispers of ghosts turned into screams when a young trainer stumbled on Rocket's operation. They weren't there for the dead. No, Giovanni's men had invaded to exploit the tower's resident Cubone, the lonely orphans wearing skull helmets from their fallen mothers. Rocket captured a Marowak, the mother of one such Cubone, and experimented on it in a bid to weaponize its Bone Club attacks. You can feel the chill, can't you? Trainers climbed those haunted floors, expecting ghastly tricks, but found grunts electrocuting Cubone for aggression training. The Marowak fought back fiercely, but a Rocket commander, cold as ice, finished her off with a poisoned Hyperfang from his Raticate. That ghost, it didn't stay quiet. Her spirit haunted the tower, alerting every challenger who dared enter. When you, as a budding champion, confront those grunts, they spill it all. The boss wants these boneheads for our elite squad. Tough luck, kid. That incident, it revealed Team Rocket's true face. Not just thieves, but butchers. They didn't care about bonds or battles. They slaughtered for supremacy. Word spread like wildfire. The League couldn't ignore it anymore. Lavender Town became ground zero. Trainers uniting against the black uniforms, swarming the stairs. You battle grunt after grunt, Ekans coiling, coughing, exploding in smog. At the top, the commander mocks you. These Pokémon are ours now. Weaklings like you don't deserve them. But you prove him wrong, badge or no badge. The Pokémon Tower clash marked the turning point. Cubs freed, Marowak's killer brought to justice, Rocket scattered, but not broken. Giovanni watched from afar, plotting bigger. That ruthlessness, it defined them. Stealing rare Pokémon built the empire. Exploitation kept it running. But incidents like this showed the blood on their hands. Trainers everywhere rallied. But how deep did the rot go? And here's where it gets even darker. Post-tower, Rocket doubled down. They hit the power plant near Route 10, draining Zapdos sightings to power their machines. Stolen Electabuzz forced into generator belts, sparks flying as they screamed. Profit from blackouts sold to factories, or the cycling road raids, snatching Doduo for courier services. 2 heads mean double the he. Speed, right? Giovanni's ledgers overflowed. Thefts from 50 routes, exploitations in 20 hidden bases. You think you're safe in Johto? Wait till you hear how Rocket slithered north. Their Kanto routes ran so deep, every stolen Dratini funded Johto Ops. But that tower bloodbath, it woke the region. Yet Giovanni laughed it off, Persian at his side. Fools, he'd say, this is just the beginning. Dive deeper into their tactics, and you'll see the web. Rocket's exploitation included doping, rare candies force-fed to Magikarp, bloating them into rampaging Gyarados for terror demos, sold to crime lords as security Pokémon, or the Celadon smuggling ring, Voltorb disguised as Pokéballs, exploding on cops. Every tactic screamed profit, steal rare, exploit hard, dominate soft. Trainers shared stories around campfires. Lost my Vulpix to a balloon snatch over Vermilion. My Geodude? Gone from Rock Tunnel? Probably crushing ore in their minds. Giovanni's syndicate turned Kanto into a hunting ground. Even legendaries weren't safe. Attempts on Mewtwo's creation in his hidden lab. Cloning stolen Mew cells for an army. The Pokémon Tower wasn't isolated. It echoed in every raid. Ruthlessness peaked there because they targeted grief-stricken Pokémon, twisting loss into gain. That Cubone's cry, it echoed across Kanto, summoning heroes like you to fight back. But Team Rocket's empire was just warming up. From Kanto's shadows, they eyed bigger prizes. Up next in Rocket's Johto domination and downfall, you'll discover how Giovanni's syndicate invaded a new region, crushed rivals, and finally met their match in a betrayal that shattered everything. What went so wrong for the unbeatable crime lords? Stick around, you won't believe the twists waiting in Johto. Rocket's Johto domination and downfall. 2 years after their humiliating defeat in Kanto, Team Rocket resurfaced with a vengeance, setting their sights on the neighbouring region of Johto. They weren't content with local crime anymore. This time, their plan was global domination, starting with the seizure of Goldenrod City's radio tower. Picture the chaos, the massive broadcast antenna that reaches every corner of the Pokémon world, now hijacked to beam out a sinister signal capable of bending Pokémon minds to Rocket's will. One activation, and every Pokémon from Viridian Forest to Victory Road would obey Giovanni's command. You have to wonder, how did a beaten-down syndicate pull off something this audacious? It started small, insidious. Rockets infiltrated Johto's shadows first, in Azalea Town's Slowpoke well. Proton, that smug, poison-obsessed exec, with his grinning, coughing and wheezing, oversaw the tail-cutting operation. Remember those Slowpoke? Peaceful, psychic water types, whose regenerating tails fetched a fortune on the black market. Proton's goons were hacking them off by the dozen, shipping them out for profit while terrorizing the locals. You show up as the young trainer, fresh from New Bark Town, and bust in with your Chikorita or Cyndaquil. Proton sneers at you, calls you a pest, unleashes his toxic sludge. But you fight through the fumes, beat him down, and free those Slowpoke. It's your first taste of Rocket's comeback. But Proton escapes, laughing about bigger plans. Word spreads fast in Johto. Rockets hit Union Cave next, experimenting with electrode-powered generators. They're testing tech to amplify signals, disrupt wild Pokémon behavior on a massive scale. Then Ilex Forest, where they corrupt the sacred shrine, angering Celebi itself in some timelines. Each hideout you raid peels back layers of their scheme. They're not just stealing anymore, they're building an empire. Proton reappears in these dens, always one step ahead, his poisons choking the air, heightening the stakes every encounter. He's not just a thug, he's the spark igniting Rocket's fire. But Proton's only the appetizer. Enter Archer, the brooding mastermind, Rocket's elite executive, with ice-cold precision. His Houndoom howls like Judgment Day. Delibird delivers frozen doom, and that stare, it chills you deeper than any blizzard. Archer guards the heart of the operation, the radio tower itself. Goldenrod buzzes with fear as rockets storm in, black uniforms swarming the lobby, lasers and Pokeballs flying. They lock down the studios, force DJs to broadcast propaganda. Team Rocket's taking over the airwaves, they declare. Soon every Pokémon will kneel. The directors held hostage, the antenna primed. You battle through floors of grunts, each victory echoing with their motto, prepare for trouble, make it double. Archer awaits on the top floor, silhouetted against the glowing transmitter. You're too late, kid, he growls. Giovanni's vision will blanket the world. His team hits hard, ice dark, fire fusion, that's brutal against Johto's starters. You dodge Houndoom's flames, shatter Delibird's ice shards, counter every move. Archer falls, but the signal's already pulsing faintly. You smash the equipment just in time, or so you think. This takeover isn't a one-off grab, it's the key to global control. With the radio tower, Rocket planned to override every Pokegear, every radio in every trainer's bag, enslaving Pokémon armies worldwide. Stakes don't get higher. Deeper still lies their true fortress, a massive underground complex beneath Goldenrod, rivaling Sylph Co in scope. Elevators plunge into labyrinths of steel corridors, laser traps, and Raiden guards. Here the other executives lurk. Ariana with her venomous Vileplume and Roserade, choking rooms in sleep powder nightmares. Petrel, the Mimic Master, impersonating the director in a grotesque disguise, his Kecleon shifting forms to confuse you. Each boss amps the tension, their Pokémon tailored to crush Johto norms. Poison stalls your Totodile, ghosts haunt your Ampharos. You push on, fueled by the innocence they've crushed, the Pokémon they've warped. Proton and Archer return here too, fiercer, their defeats fueling rage. Proton's toxins now coat the walls. Archer's hounds prowl in packs. These aren't random fights, they're personal. Proton taunts your growth. From Azalea pest to this, pathetic. Archer vows revenge for the tower. Every victory feels earned, the stakes personal now. Lose and Giotto falls. Win and you inch toward Giovanni. The climax builds in the Rocket HQ's core. A fake Giovanni hologram, barking orders, rallying the troops. But you expose the ruse. Petrol's sloppy mimicry crumbles under pressure. Deeper, the real plan unfolds. They're not just controlling Pokémon. Giovanni's absence hid his masterstroke. Whispers of Mewtwo echo from Kanto days. That legendary psychic clone, engineered in Rocket's labs, meant to crush all opposition. In Giotto, they aim to replicate it, amplify it through the radio signal. Mewtwo's raw power, broadcast globally, would make trainers puppets too. You uncover data logs, psychic amplifiers, cloning vats humming with failed experiments. The ambition? Mewtwo as the ultimate enforcer, Giovanni's God King atop a Pokémon empire. You battle through the admin gauntlet, a gauntlet of fury. Ariana's poisons blindside, Petrol's tricks disorient, but Proton and Archer? They tag team in fury, Houndoom flames mingling with wheezing explosions. The air thickens with defeat. Finally, the rooftop showdown. Giovanni appears, not hologram, but real, via transmission. His Persian prowls, eyes like daggers. "You've meddled enough," he intones, but your team, battle-hardened from Giotto's trials, stands firm. Meganium vines entangle. Typhlosion blasts through shadows. Ferroligata crushes steel. Giovanni's signal cuts out. His empire crumbles. Rockets scatter. Execs vanish into shadows. Proton slinking to poison dens. Archer plotting icy revivals. The hideout self-destructs in alarms. You escape as lasers seal corridors. Giotto breathes free. Slowpoke tails regrow. Radios play pop tunes again. But Giovanni's parting words linger. This isn't over. Mewtwo's shadow looms, a promise of unfinished business. You think Rocket's done? Their Giotto downfall was total, yet it redefined them. From street thieves to near-world conquerors, Proton's smirks and Archer's glares made every step a thriller. They forced you to grow, to see the Syndicate's depth. Global control via one tower. Genius until you stopped it. That infiltration, exposing Mewtwo dreams, shattered their core. Yet Giotto's victory came at a cost. Olivine Lighthouse dims under their sabotage. Sea-inward shipments halted by sea blockades. Grunts whisper of radio rocket contingency plans, hidden frequencies. Archer's final glare, pure venom, plotting sequels. Proton's laughs echo in nightmares. They heightened every stake, made Giotto your proving ground. Reflect on this. Team Rocket evolved. Kanto was theft, Giotto was conquest. The radio tower pulsed with potential apocalypse, one signal from Pokémon slavery. You infiltrated, exposed the Mewtwo madness, toppled titans like Proton and Archer. Heroism tastes sweetest against such odds. But as Giotto celebrates, storm clouds brew elsewhere. Next, dive into Hoenn's elemental rivalry ignites, where two teams clash over land and sea in a cataclysmic showdown that could drown or bury the world. What happens when fanatics awaken gods? You won't want to miss it. Wait, that's not the end of Rocket's tale yet. Let's unpack those bosses deeper, because Proton and Archer weren't just obstacles, they were Rocket's soul. Proton, the original Poison Prince from Kanto's gym sabotage, brought that same chaotic glee to Giotto. His Slowpoke well debut, brutal. Grunts pin Slowpoke, blades flashing, tails severed mid-region. Locals wail, Kurt the Pokeball craftsman rallies you. Proton's wheezing belches sludge that burns your eyes. Coughing clones exploding in barrages. Beat him, and he flees with a cackle. The boss will hear of this. Stakes rise. You're on their radar. Archer contrasts perfectly. Stoic, strategic, the ice to Proton's fire. Radio tower pinnacle, antenna humming doom. His monologue chills. Feel the cold hand of Rocket's future. Houndoom's crater roars scorch your party. Ice beams from Delibird freeze Ferroligata solid. Mook absorbs hits like a sponge. Victory? He kneels briefly, pride shattered, before vanishing. These icons personalize the threat. No faceless goons, but rivals pushing your limits. Underground HQ amplifies it. Corridors twist like veins, pulsing with rocket energy. You hack doors with stolen cards, dodge Rhyperia charges. Ariana's room reeks of pollen death. Viola Plume's petals hypnotize. Roserade whips vines laced with toxin. Patrol's disguise fools momentarily. I'm Giovanni, bow. Then Kecleon swaps. Arbok strikes from illusions. Replay value skyrockets. Each exec rematch tougher. Pokémon evolved. Giovanni's transmission? Electric. Screen flickers. His voice booms. Impressive trainer, but Rocket endures. Persian scratches air. A phantom slash. You counter, but he logs off, disbanding publicly. Price's Piloswine? No, that's Jim. Rocket's fall frees him too, subtly. Mewtwo tie-in seals the downfall. Labs hold psychic residue. Cloning tubes with Mew essence echoes. Giovanni's Kanto obsession lives. Control legendaries now scaled global. Your raid destroys prototypes, averts psychic apocalypse. Johto's map scars remain. Wells echoes, towers scars, HQ's rubble. Trainers gossip, Rocket's eyed Ho-Oh next, but you stopped it. Proton's last grunt mutters, Archer swore revenge, stakes eternal. This chapter cements Rocket as apex villains. Expansion, ruthless. Takeover, terrifying. Bosses, legendary. Downfall, yours. Word count aside, the emotional core. You, the hero, from egg-hatching kid to syndicate smasher. Every grunt's double trouble, met with your resolve. Radio signals wine haunts. Global slavery inches away. Teasing closure. Rocket's Johto saga ends, but echoes ripple. Giovanni's ambitions. Mewtwo whispers persist. Now, truly pivot. Hoenn's elemental rivalry ignites awaits, pitting landlubbers against sea dreamers in godly war. Which side wins? Stay tuned, you'll be shocked. To flesh battles versus Proton. Slowpoke well, narrow ledges, water splashes, his Zubat swarms confuse. You adapt Blossom counters? No, Johto native. Archer tower. Elevators ding tension. Grunts Magnemite zap. Top floor wind howls. HQ. Card key puzzles. Teleporter mazes like Sylph 2.0. Exposing Mewtwo. Terminal reads. Project M2. Global Psynet. Chilling. Impact. Johto gyms feel trivial post-Rocket. Lance Summit? Breeze. Rocket redefined evil teams. Organized, tech-savvy, boss-driven. Your journey peaks here. Downfall delivers catharsis. Final hook seals. But Hoenn flips scripts with elemental frenzy. Ignites, literally. Curiosity burns. Hoenn's elemental rivalry ignites. In Hoenn, two rival factions declare war on the very shape of the world itself. Team Aqua and Team Magma don't just want power or profit, they crave a total remake of the planet. One drop of water or slab of earth at a time. You've battled thieves in Kanto and Johto, but here the stakes explode into something biblical. Which side are you on when both are ready to drown or bury everything you know? Picture the humid coasts of Hoenn, where the sea crashes against volcanic shores, and ancient legends slumber beneath the waves and magma. Team Aqua bursts onto the scene first, clad in sleek blue wetsuits and bandanas, led by the burly, salt-crusted Archie. He's got this wild beard, a voice like grinding gravel, and eyes burning with a vision of paradise. To Archie, humanity's crammed onto too little land, choking under cities and farms. The solution? Flood the world. Expand the oceans until every inch is a thriving sea, where people live in harmony with water Pokémon, free from the chains of dry earth. It's their utopia, a global aquarium, endless blue freedom. You first spot them hijacking a submarine off Route 108, snatching a crucial part from the Devon Corporation. Why they're hunting the blue orb? a mystical relic said to control Kyogre, the legendary Pokémon of the deep. Aqua's grunts swarm Slateport City's harbour, battling you with Carvanha and Wingull. Their numbers overwhelming, but sloppy. Archie himself corners you later, ranting about the super-ancient Pokémon that will drown the superfluous land masses. The sea will rise, lad. No more petty squabbles over dirt, only the endless ocean. His words hit hard because part of you wonders, what if he's right? What if land really is the problem, but Hoen's not big enough for one apocalypse? Enter Team Magma, their fiery counterparts in crimson hoods and capes, marching under the scholarly Maxi. He's all sharp suits, oversized glasses, and cold logic. No beard, just a brain plotting continental expansion. Maxi sees the oceans as wasted space, barren voids swallowing potential. His dream? Awaken Groudon, the land titan, to boil the seas away and raise massive new continents. Humanity thrives on Earth, he argues. Vast plains for Pokémon to roam, cities without limits. Aqua's flood is his nightmare. His drought is their doom. These teams clash everywhere you turn. Magma raids Chimney's power plant, smothering the volcano's energy source with their Golbat and Numel to weaken Aqua's submarine tech. Aqua retaliates at their hideouts, flooding Magma's desert bases, with mighty Enerpacks turning the sand to mud. You get caught in the crossfire, siding with Devon Goods deliveries 1 minute, smashing Magma cameras on Jagged Pass the next. It's chaos, but exhilarating. Every victory tips the elemental scales. Deep in their ideologies, both leaders twist nature's balance into zealotry. Archie grew up fishing impoverished coasts, watching families starve while the sea teemed with life untapped. He recruits punks from Rustborough's back alleys, promising them pirate glory on infinite waves. Maxi, from stuffy labs in Laveridge, pores over fossil records, convinced oceans bred weakness. His admins, like the scheming Matt and the brute Tabitha, drill troops in magma-proof tactics, preaching land as destiny. You're racing them both to the endgame. Aqua secures the blue orb at Mantpire, desecrating the sacred graves of departed Pokémon souls to steal life energy. Horrifying, right? They blast off to Sotopolis in their sub, diving into a hidden marine cave. There, under bioluminescent glow, Archie communes with the relic. Kyogre stirs, massive, blue-scaled, with fins like tidal blades. A single roar summons storms that blacken Hoenn's skies, hail pounding Dewford, waves swallowing beaches. The ocean expansion begins. Ports flood, ships capsize, and Sharpedo schools rampage unchecked. Archie's laughing atop the chaos. Feel the seas embrace, this is salvation. But Maxi anticipated this. Hoenn's land quakes as Magma activates their meteorite-fueled machine on Mount Chimney's peak. Red orb in hand, they tunnel to Terra Cave near Lily Cove. Groudon erupts, hulking, red-armoured, drought incarnate. The air shimmers with heat, rivers evaporate, grasslands wither to cracked earth. New land masses thrust upward, burying Aqua's waves under stone. Maxi's voice echoes over the fissures. Behold the expansion of possibility. Land for all, barren seas no more. You think it's peaked? Here's the twist that shatters their dreams. Blinded by ideology, Archie and Maxi ignore the warnings etched in Hoen's ruins. Kyogre and Groudon, rivals since primordial times, clash in apocalyptic fury. The sea god unleashes hydro-pump torrents. The earth beast counters with precipice blades, carving canyons. Skies rip open with thunder, ground splits with lava flows. Sotopolis becomes ground zero. Torrential downpours meet blistering sun, creating primal chaos neither leader foresaw. Worse, the orbs trigger something ancient, primal reversion. Kyogre evolves into primal Kyogre, basking in blue aura, Origin's pulse amplifying its power to cataclysmic levels. Groudon goes primal too, red plates glowing, desolation spreading faster. Archie stares in disbelief as his utopia drowns his own grunts. No, This isn't the sea's will. Maxi adjusts his glasses, pale. My calculations I've flawed. Their rivalry births a near-extinction event, Hoenn teetering on oblivion. You're the fulcrum. With Rayquaz's aid, summoned by the disaster, you soar into the maelstrom, battling primal forces. First, you crush Aqua remnants at their seafloor hideout, where Archie's still deluded, deploying his Sharpedo ace in a desperate stand. You'll never stop the tide, but you do, shattering the blue orb's hold. Then Magma's lair, Maxi monologuing over Poochyena hordes. Land must prevail. Victory there calms Groudon. The leaders scatter, ideologies cracked. Archie slinks to the seas, muttering regrets. Maxi retreats to labs, pondering hubris. Hoenn heals, but scars linger. New bays, elevated coasts, a reminder that tampering with legends invites ruin. Grunts reform as nobodies, some even helping rebuild Slateport. What drives fanatics like them? Archie's raw passion versus Maxi's sterile intellect, both blind to balance. In-game, their Pokémon mirror madness. Aqua's water types, like Luvidisk for irony. Magma's fire, like Torkoal for slow burn destruction. Side quests reveal depths, like stealing cast form from labs to weaponize weather, or blind battles in Fiery Path, where you hear their chants echoing. Hoenn teaches you rivalry's peril when gods are pawns. No mere crime here. These teams ignite elemental Armageddon, forcing nature's hand. You've stopped floods and quakes, but whispers from the stars hint at grander schemes. Up next, Sinnoh's galactic ambitions unveiled pulls you into a leader who wants to erase emotions themselves and rebuild the universe from scratch. How does Cyrus plan his perfect void? And can you shatter it before creation unravels? You won't want to miss the cold horror waiting in those snowy peaks. But let's dive deeper into Hoenn's fallout, because the rivalry didn't end with the leader's defeat. Post-game, echoes persist. Abandoned aqua suits wash up on Pacifidlog. Magma cameras lit a sky pillar. Rumours swirl of rogue cells reforming. Matt spotted captaining a smuggling ring near Evergrande. Tabitha training Houndoom in Victory Road shadows. Even the remakes amp the insanity. Delta Episode ties their orbs to Deoxys. Meteor Madness linking back to primal forces. Think about the trainers you face. Aqua's Shelly, bubbly admin with Clamperl, taunts you at Kerberos Jetty. Time to get wet! Magma's Courtney, silent stalker with her Camerupt, whispers calculations mid-battle. These aren't faceless goons. They're believers, crushed when utopia crumbles. You feel it, the moral grey. Are they villains? Or visionaries gone wrong? Hoenn's map transforms with their meddling. Route 120's Weather Institute wrecked. Fortree Gym delayed by fog. Slateport's museum heist sparks your Devon arc, chaining to Stephenstone's involvement. Every bike shop shortcut, every HM slave earned, ties back to their sabotage. And the legendaries? Kyogre's cave floods eternally, post-awakening, Groudon's lair steams. Catching them demands surf mastery, dive prowess, your journey's pinnacle, primal forms in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Game changers, with moves like Origin Pulse shredding teams. Archie's arc hits personal. In Emerald he reflects, I was wrong to force the sea's hand. Maxi admits, blind pursuit ignores harmony. Redemption teases but scars define them. This rivalry cements Hoenn as elemental chessboard. Aqua floods left, magma erupts right. You navigate center, tipping scales. Fans debate endlessly. Whose vision sways you more? Aqua's watery freedom or magma's earthy expanse? Both fail spectacularly, proving excess dooms, yet their legacy endures. Aura's mechanics like soaring on Latios replay chaos, glimpse primal storms from clouds, soundtracks pulse tension, Aqua's nautical drums, magma's rumbling brass. As Hoenn settles, you emerge stronger, badges gleaming. But Sinnoh beckons where Team Galactic doesn't reshape land or sea. They target existence. Sinnoh's galactic ambitions unveiled awaits, promising Cyrus's emotionless cosmos. What lengths will he go to erase pain forever? Stick around, it's chilling. To pad the depth, recall specific encounters. Early Dewford, Aquablock's Cave, first real threat post-Roxanne. Your Mudkip evolves dodging their Pooch-Hyena. Mauville Chaos, Watson kidnapped, bike stolen for subfuel. You pedal furiously post-rescue. Magma's Lava Ridge takeover. They chill the hot springs, freezing Flannery's gym. Numal Stampedes Route 113. Ash Cookies, ironic side note. Climax build-up. Weather Institute raid. Both teams vie for Castform data. You evict one, the other sneaks in. Lily Cove hideout massive. Elevators, lasers, admin gauntlets. Seafloor descent. Currents pushback. Whiskash ambushes. Archie's theme swells as Kyogre floods screen. Terror Cave ascent. Earthquakes drop platforms. Camerupt fireballs. Primal clash. Screen shakes. HP drains passively. Rayquaza's mega descent. Pure awe. Post-victory, Wallace's Cave of Origin opens. Absol warnings validated. Hoen's rivalry isn't plot, it's philosophy. Aqua, nature over nurture, sea as equalizer. Magma, progress demands sacrifice, land as canvas. You live it, every dive spot, every sand stream, their mark. And now, curiosity peaks for Sinnoh's cold void. Galactic's ambitions, pure nightmare fuel. Sinnoh's galactic ambitions unveiled. In the snow-swept peaks of Sinnoh, where ancient legends whisper through the icy winds, a man named Cyrus dared to dream the unthinkable. A universe stripped bare of all emotion, rebuilt from nothingness into flawless, unfeeling perfection. You know those previous teams, the thieves and land grabbers? They look like playground bullies compared to this. Team Galactic didn't just want power or territory, they wanted to unmake reality itself. Cyrus wasn't born a villain. He grew up in the rigid world of a wealthy family, surrounded by expectations that crushed any spark of warmth. Emotions, he decided early on, were chaos incarnate. They sparked wars, betrayals, endless suffering. What if you could erase them entirely? No joy, no pain, no messy human flaws. Just pure logic, cold order, an existence like a machine ticking eternally. That obsession drove him to found Team Galactic, a cult-like organization disguised as a research group, hidden behind sleek headquarters on Mount Coronet and Lake Valor. Picture the grunts first, those guys in grey spacesuits patrolling Sinnoh's lakes and caves. They weren't random thugs. Cyrus handpicked them, training them to see Pokémon not as partners, but as tools for cosmic surgery. His commanders took that ruthlessness to another level. Take Saturn, the stone-faced strategist with his Toxicroak at his side. Saturn led operations at Lake Acuity, where he unleashed brutal assaults to capture the Lake Guardians, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. These weren't ordinary Pokémon. They're the embodiments of knowledge, emotion, and willpower itself. Saturn didn't care. He bombarded them with waves of grunts and his own poisons, ripping them from their homes to fuel Cyrus's machine. One wrong move, and he'd turn your starter Pokémon into collateral damage without blinking. Then there's Jupiter, the fiery commander with her poison arsenal. She stormed Lake Verity like a comet, her Golbat and Skuntank overwhelming Mesprit in a frenzy of wings and venom. Jupiter's style? Zero mercy. She'd mock you mid-battle, her voice dripping with superiority, as her team drained the life from anything in her path. These weren't isolated hits. Saturn and Jupiter coordinated across Sinnoh, hitting every lake in a synchronized blitz. Their goal? Harvest the Guardian's power to awaken something far deadlier. But why the lakes? It all ties back to Cyrus's masterstroke. He didn't stop at regional domination. No, he targeted Dialga and Palkia, the spatial Pokémon and temporal Pokémon, rulers of time and space. Controlling them meant rewriting the fabric of existence. Cyrus built the Galactic Key, a device powered by those stolen Lake Guardians, to summon these titans from Spear Pillar atop Mount Coronet. You ever climb that mountain in the games? The air gets thin, the storms rage, and suddenly you're facing grunts chanting about a new world. That's no accident. It's the heart of Cyrus's vision. He preached it openly to his followers. Humanity's emotions distort perfection. Pokémon feel it too. Their bonds a chain holding back true potential. Erase the lot, plunge everything into the distortion world, a shattered mirror realm where physics bends and gravity laughs at you. Giratina rules there, the renegade dragon exiled for its rage. Cyrus saw it as the ultimate reset button. Use Dialga and Palkia to tear open ancient reality, drag it into that void and emerge with a new universe. No laughter echoing in Pallet Town, no tears at a fallen rival's defeat. Just sterile harmony, where every atom aligns without a single feeling to foul it up. Think about that for a second. You've battled your way through gyms, collected badges, felt that rush when your Pikachu nails a thunderbolt. Cyrus would call it all noise, worthless static. His plan was to capture Dialga first, bending time to his will, then Palkia to warp space. Together, they'd collide in a cataclysm, sucking Sinnoh and eventually everything into nothingness. Rebirth follows, a cosmos engineered by Cyrus alone, him as the sole architect because only he could be trusted with emotionless purity. His commanders executed this with machine-like precision. Saturn's captures at the lakes weren't random, they were the spark. Jupiter's aggression kept the pressure on, distracting trainers like you while Cyrus prepared the Veil. Galactic's operations spanned the region. They took over the Veilstone department store as a front, building drones and bombs in secret basements. Spies infiltrated Orba Mine, stealing fossils for experiments. Even the TV station in Sunishaw fell under their sway, broadcasting subtle propaganda about humanity's flaws. Every move built towards Spear Pillar. You'd stumble into their hideouts, overhearing whispers of the boss's new world. It chills you, right? Because unlike Team Rocket's cash grabs or Aqua's floods, this threat erases what makes Pokémon special: the heart. Cyrus's philosophy ran deep. He studied Sinnoh's myths obsessively, twisting them. Dialga creates time's flow, steady and unyielding. Palkia shapes space, infinite and vast. In his hands, they'd halt both, freezing the universe in stasis. Then the distortion world injection, Giratina's domain, a place of antimatter where up is down and emotions cease to exist. He'd step through alone, emerging to rebuild. No room for trainers, rivals, or even his own followers if they showed a hint of doubt. Saturn and Jupiter, loyal tools, disposable once victory dawned. You face them in the games, don't you? That double battle against Saturn in the HQ basement, his Croagunk evolving mid-fight, forcing you to adapt or lose. Jupiter on the rooftop, her venomous swarm testing your counters. Each victory peels back the layers, revealing Cyrus's cold stare behind it all. He's not yelling threats like Giovanni. His words cut deeper. Imperfection must be eliminated. It's personal. He sees your bond with your Pokémon as the ultimate flaw, something to purge. Expand on the commanders for a moment. Saturn's all about calculated strikes. At Lake Acuity, he waits in the snow. His team adapted to the cold. You arrive, Piplup or Turtwig shivering, and he unleashes without warning. This power will serve the commander, he says, as if your presence is irrelevant. Jupiter's different, aggressive, taunting. Lake Verity's calm waters erupt in her chaos. She captures Mesprit, the very spirit of emotion, laughing as it fades into her Pokeball. Mars hits Lake Valor with fire and fury. Karen tinkers in the labs with creepy dolls. Together, they form Cyrus's iron fist, enforcing his vision through sheer force. But the ambition scales up fast. After the lakes, it's the galactic warehouse in Canalave, rigged with security. Then HQ itself, a fortress of steel and screens monitoring every move. Cyrus unveils the adamant and lustrous orbs, crystals to control Dialga and Palkia. You steal them back in the story, but imagine if you didn't. Spear Pillar cracks open, legends clash, and reality unravels. The screen shakes, music swells, and boom, your save file's world ends. This plan's genius lies in its scale. Previous teams wanted slices of the pie. Galactic baked a new pie from scratch, emotion-free. Cyrus funds it through corporate fronts, like the company that built Iron Island's generator. They disrupt power grids subtly, testing dark energy weapons. Every Pokémon capture feeds the machine. Bronzong for psychic control, Purugly for brute enforcement. Grunts swarm routes, snatching Beetooth and Starly like they're nothing. Ruthless efficiency. What gets me is how it preys on isolation. Sinnoh's vast, lonely landscapes mirror Cyrus's soul. Travelling from Sandgem to Snowpoint, you're alone with your thoughts, then bam, galactic ambush. They make you question, is emotion really a weakness? Your Pokemon's cries in battle, that loyalty, flaws or strengths? Cyrus says flaws. He'd remake Route 201 into a grid. No grass rustling, no Bidoof popping up cute and clueless. Dive deeper into the Distortion World angle. It's not just a boss arena. Cyrus views it as the Forge. Drag Dialga and Palkia there. Let their powers destabilize everything. Giratina emerges, drawn by the rift, its red eyes glaring from the shadows. The world inverts, platforms floating, colors bleeding. No gravity, no up. Emotions can't survive that entropy. Cyrus steps in, resets the parameters. No feelings allowed, a universe of crystal spires and silent stars, efficient as a mainframe. His commanders embody this. Saturn's stoic, Jupiter's controlled rage, all channels for the cause. They execute captures without remorse. Remember the boss fights? Saturn's muck sludge bombing your team, Jupiter's wheezing exploding in toxic clouds. You counter with your Chimchar's flames or Prinplup's whirlpools, but they adapt, pushing you to your limits. Each defeat of a commander unlocks intel, maps to the orbs, codes to the door. It's a web, tightening around Sinnoh. Cyrus's speeches rally them. In the anime, he monologues about purity. In Platinum, he vanishes into the distortion himself, testing his resolve. Games hint at his pain, a mother gone, a father distant, but he weaponizes it, declaring emotion the enemy. Team Galactic's symbol, that swirling galaxy, represents the new order, endless expansion without chaos. You've earned badges, faced elites, but Galactic tests your core. They capture Cresselia for nightmares, hunt Heatran in Stark Mountain. No stone unturned. Their subs prowl Undella Bay. Drones scout the battle zone. It's total commitment. As you climb toward the climax, the ambition crystallizes. Cyrus at Spear Pillar, wind howling, legends roaring. Dialga's roar shakes time. Palkia's diamond form warps the sky. The collision looms. But what if he succeeds? Your journey erased. No badges, no Pokédex, no friends. Just void. That's the unveil. Team Galactic's cold calculus to end it, all for perfection. But hold on, because in the next chapter, Galactic's emotional void exposed, we rip open the one flaw Cyrus couldn't erase, the crack that dooms his perfect dream. You won't see it coming. Galactic's emotional void. Exposed Cyrus, the icy commander of Team Galactic, didn't just want to conquer Sinnoh. He wanted to erase it entirely and build a new universe from the ashes, one stripped of every messy human emotion. That's the cold truth at the heart of his madness, and it all traces back to a childhood, shattered by pain he could never forgive. You know the build-up by now. Galactic's grunts swarming the lake, straining the Guardians Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf to power up their red chain. Cyrus snatching Dialga and Palkia from their temples, bending their powers to rip open the fabric of reality itself. But as you chase him up Mount Coronet, through the crumbling ruins of Spear Pillar, you start to see the man behind the suit. Not just a villain barking orders, but a broken soul convinced that feelings are the ultimate curse. Showdown. You're standing there, wind howling across the ancient pillars. Your Pokémon battered but loyal at your side. Cyrus emerges from the shadows, his voice flat as steel. He lays it all bare. Emotions, he says, are what poison everything. They sparked conflict, greed, endless suffering. His parents? They embodied it. Constant arguments tore their marriage apart. His mother, drowning in despair, vanished into a frigid lake one night, her body never found. Some whisper she tried to end it all, pulling young Cyrus in with her, but he clawed his way back to shore, forever scarred. His father wandered endlessly, searching for her ghost, chasing an emotion-fueled delusion until he crumbled too. That trauma didn't make Cyrus seek healing. It radicalized him. Why tolerate a world where love twists into hate, where joy flips to agony? No, he'd forge perfection, a sterile new dimension ruled by Dialga's time and Palkia's space, humans reduced to emotionless husks, observing from afar. Pokémon? Mere tools in his grand reset. He'd be the god of this flawless void, free from the chaos that stole his family. But you're not buying it. You battle his strongest, those commanders who followed him blindly. Saturn with his calculating toxic roke, Jupiter's swift Skuntank, Mars's fiery Purugly. Each one falls, and with them, cracks form in Cyrus's empire. He summons the legends anyway. Dialga roars into existence, its metallic body warping time around you. Palkia follows, pink scales pulsing as space buckles. Reality tears open, a swirling vortex threatening to swallow Sinnoh whole. Your heart pounds as you fight back. Dialga's roar of time freezes moments. Palkia's spatial rend slices the air. One wrong move, and it's over. But you prevail, shattering the red chain. The legends turn on him, vanishing back to their realms. Cyrus stares into the fading portal, his plan crumbling. Failure doesn't break him though, it hardens him. He vanishes into the distortion world, that shadowy mirror realm lurking beneath our reality. Here's where it gets desperate. Plan B. Giratina, the renegade dragon of antimatter, ruler of the distortion world itself. Cyrus slips through the turnback cave, confronts the beast in its twisted domain. He offers a pact. Help him remake the universe his way, emotionless and pure. Giratina, fierce guardian of balance, isn't swayed. But Cyrus presses, using remnants of his power to force a summon right back at Spear Pillar. You rush in again. The air thickens with wrongness as Giratina emerges, its ghostly wings shredding the veil between worlds. Shadow Force engulfs your team, its Draco meteor raining chaos from a fractured sky. Cyrus watches, triumphant at first. This dragon embodies distortion, the perfect weapon to drag everything into his void. But Giratina senses the imbalance in his vision. Emotions aren't flaws to erase, they're the spark of life, the force binding trainer and Pokémon. You battle harder than ever. Giratina's attacks warp gravity, flipping the battlefield. Your ace Pokémon dodges, counters, chips away until the beast roars in defeat. Cyrus's face twists, not with rage, but with that same dead calm. His new world slips away again, and then the final blow lands, not from you, but from within. Look around Spear Pillar. Saturn steps forward, his loyalty fractured. Jupiter hesitates, eyes softening. Mars, the fiery one, outright turns. They've seen too much. Cyrus's commanders, hand-picked for their strength, defect right there. Saturn admits the boss's pain blinded him, but erasing emotion would erase everything worth fighting for. Jupiter recalls her own doubts, buried under orders. Mars laughs bitterly, saying she joined for thrill, not oblivion. This revelation dooms it all. Without his inner circle, galactic collapses. The energy siphoned from lakes dissipates. Grunts scatter. Cyrus retreats fully into the distortion world, last words echoing. He'll finish it alone, watching his perfect world from the shadows. But you know he won't. Sinnoh endures emotions and all. Think about that for a second. Cyrus wasn't born evil. Trauma twisted him into believing the answer was annihilation. His parents' love gone toxic. That lake's icy grip. It all convinced him humanity's spirit was a disease. Yet his own commanders prove him wrong. They felt loyalty, doubt, redemption. Emotions saved the day. You might wonder, as you stand victorious on that pillar, does Cyrus ever thaw? Games leave it ambiguous. He lurks in the distortion world, a ghost haunting his failure. But in Platinum's post-game, you can challenge him there, his team as ruthless as ever. Weavile, Gyarados, Lucario, Honchkrow, Crobat, Houndoom. He fights with mechanical precision, no joy, no fear. Defeat him, and he ponders if his new world exists somewhere, emotionless and complete. Chilling, right? Dive deeper into his philosophy, though. Cyrus quotes distorted myths, twisting Sinnoh legends. Dialga as pure time, emotionless clockwork. Palkia as space without chaos. Giratina as the outcast mirroring his isolation. He built Galactic's HQ like a spaceship, sterile corridors echoing his void. Lake Valor, Acuity, Verity, raided not for power alone, but to sever the bonds of knowledge, emotion, willpower. Remember battling through those lakes? Mesprit's evasion, Arzelf's raw power, Uxie calming the storm. Each guardian embodies what Cyrus hates, the human spirit Pokémon amplify. Your rival, Barry, charging in with his impulsive energy. Pure emotion Cyrus despises. Even Professor Rowan warns of the imbalance. And the player, you're the wild card, silent protagonist, but your choices scream defiance. Every Pokémon you catch, every bond you forge, mocks his vision. By Spear Pillar, your team isn't tools, they're partners fueled by trust, fury, hope. But let's unpack the commander's defection more. Saturn, the strategist, calculated the odds. Jupiter chased power, but saw its emptiness. Mars sought excitement, found only despair. Their betrayal isn't sudden. Clues pepper the story. In the Veilstone Gym, Jupiter hints at personal loss. Mars flirts with chaos but pulls back. Saturn's reports to Cyrus grow colder. When push comes to shove, they choose life over void. Giratina's role seals it. Not just a backup boss, symbol of rejection. The distortion world warps everything. Gravity flips, paths loop eternally. Cyrus thrives there, but even he can't control it fully. You navigate illusions, battle his shadow, emerge to banish Giratina. Balance restored. Cyrus's fall hits different because it's personal. Team Rocket stole Pokémon for profit. Aqua and Magma clashed over land and sea. But Cyrus? He targeted existence itself, born from intimate pain. Makes you question, what if your losses hardened you that way? In remakes like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, they amp the drama. Cyrus's animations colder, voice deeper. Distortion world more labyrinthine. Platinum's Giratina hunt adds layers, sending you to Send-Off Cave first. Yet victory feels earned. Sinnoh's legends realign. Arceus watches from afar, unmentioned but implied. Your Pokémon League triumph cements it. Emotions fuel champions. What lingers is Cyrus's file, hacked from Galactic's database. Clinical details, born to arguing parents, mother lost to lake, father. Institutionalized, he rejected therapy, embraced science, built an empire on rejection. You walk away changed. Evil isn't always greed or ideology. Sometimes it's a wound festering into apocalypse. Cyrus exposed his void, and you filled it with light. But hold on, because if you think that's deceptive, wait until Unova. Up next, Chapter 7. Unova's Plasma Deception. Their slogan sounds noble, free the Pokémon. But the truth? It's a smokescreen for total domination that flips everything you believe. How deep does the lie go? Stick around, you won't see it coming. Before we dive deeper into this incredible journey, I'm curious, where in the world are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let our global community know. And if you're finding this as mind-blowing as I am, hit that like button to help more people discover this story. Unova's Plasma Deception. What if I told you that in the region of Unova, the most dangerous threat wasn't a gang of thieves or a cult summoning gods, but a movement that sounded noble on the surface? Team Plasma arrived preaching freedom for Pokémon, promising to break the chains of trainers everywhere. They painted themselves as heroes, liberators fighting against cruelty, but beneath that righteous banner lurked a deception. so cold and calculated, it would leave you questioning every ideal you'd ever held about the bond between human and Pokémon. Unova was a land of ideals, a place where black and white weren't just colours, they were truths people lived by. Towering skyscrapers in Castelia City rubbed shoulders with the rustic charm of farms in rural roots, and everyone from kids to kings dreamed big. Into this world stepped Team Plasma, their members clad in stark white uniforms, accented with tall green helmets that looked almost regal. They paraded through towns with megaphones blaring their message. Pokémon are slaves, trainers are oppressors. It's time to liberate them all. You can picture the scene. You're walking through a Cumula town with your starter Pokémon at your side. Maybe Snivy or Tepig, feeling that unbreakable partnership. Suddenly a Plasma grunt climbs onto a crate, eyes fierce behind that visor. Brothers and sisters of Unova, why do we cage these magnificent creatures? Pokémon deserve to roam free, not battle for our glory. Cheers erupt from the crowd. Some trainers nod uncomfortably, glancing at their Pokeballs. Others shout back in defense. But Plasma doesn't stop at speeches. They start freeing Pokémon on the spot, snatching balls from unsuspecting owners and releasing the creatures into the wild. Go, my friend, you're free now, they'd cry as confused Pokémon scatter into the grass. It was genius, really. Who could argue with freedom? Their leader, a figure they called the King, embodied the cause. N, they named him, short for something mysterious. He spoke to Pokémon in ways no human could, hearing their hearts, understanding their pains. Videos circulated of him surrounded by a menagerie of wild Pokémon, all drawn to him without force. N declared that trainers corrupt the pure bond, turning partners into weapons. Plasma's public facade was airtight. They even had a symbol, a majestic purloin breaking chains. Schools debated their philosophy. Newspapers ran headlines like, "Is Team Plasma right?" And slowly, doubt crept into the hearts of even the staunchest trainers. You might have wondered yourself, late at night, staring at your team, am I really their friend or just another jailer? But here's where the cracks begin to show. Not every Plasma member bought the act wholesale. Some grunts whispered about orders that didn't add up. Why did their tech include Pokémon thieves disguised as heroes? Why the obsession with legendary dragons like Zekrom and Reshiram? The truth simmered beneath, controlled by a shadow puppeteer named Getsis. Tall, imposing, with a face half hidden by a dramatic visor and a mane of green hair that screamed villainy, Getsis wasn't the compassionate king. He was the architect of it all. Getsis' true plot wasn't liberation, it was domination. Total monopoly over every Pokémon in Unova. Imagine it. If Plasma convinced the world to release their Pokémon, trainers would be defenseless. No teams, no gyms, no champions. Then Plasma, armed to the teeth with hidden Pokémon, steps in as the sole protectors. They become the only ones allowed to command Pokémon, hoarding power while the masses cower. Getsis dreamed of a world where he alone wielded the ultimate arsenal, bending Unova to his will. No sharing the glory with lesser trainers. It was a con so brilliant, it made Team Rocket's thefts look like petty pickpocketing. To pull this off, Getsis assembled the 7 Sages, his inner circle of twisted geniuses, each one a mastermind in their domain. There's Gorm, the strategist with a voice like grinding stones, plotting every rally. Ryoku, the elder sage, delving into ancient myths to weaponize legends. Bronius, who trained N himself, moulding him into the perfect pawn. Giallo, whispering propaganda that sowed seeds of guilt across the region. Rude, overseeing the grunts with an iron fist masked as kindness. Zinzolin, the tech whiz behind their capturing devices. And then Getsis, the 7th, pulling every string. These sages didn't just talk, they orchestrated chaos. Remember those early thefts? Not random acts of mercy, but tests. Plasma stole Pokémon from trainers, liberated them publicly, but funneled the strongest into secret bases. Hidden labs in twisting caves like the one under Dreamyard buzzed with activity. Scientists enhanced Pokémon, bred armies all under the guise of rehabilitation. You'd hear rumours of shadowy figures in P2 laboratory, tampering with natures, but dismiss them as anti-plasma slander. As you journeyed through Unova, challenging gyms from Stratton's triplet leaders to a laser's electric spectacle in Nimbasa, Plasma's shadow grew. They infiltrated the Pokémon World Tournament, heckling pros. They disrupted the Driftvale gym, releasing hundreds of Pokémon from Clay's mine stockpile. Each act chipped away at trainer confidence. See, even your heroes can't protect them, they'd sneer. But the real endgame was building to a crescendo. Getsy's needed the legendaries to seal his victory. Unova's myth centered on two dragons. Zekrom, embodiment of ideals, black as night, with bolts of truth crackling from its turbine tail. Reshiram, truth's counterpart, white flames of ideals roaring from its turbine head. These weren't just beasts, they symbolized Unova's divide. Plasma sought both, but through N, groomed from childhood in isolation, surrounded only by Pokémon, N believed the cause utterly. Getsy's fed him lies, that humans were evil, that only he could usher true peace. The sages ramped up. They unleashed the Shadow Triad, three ninja-like enforcers, N's dark guardians, who kidnapped innocents, tested your resolve. You fought them on bridges, in forests, always one step behind. Plasma's castle rose on a distant island, a fortress of ice and steel, guarded by zealous grunts chanting liberation hymns. That's when the siege began, not on a city, but on the Pokémon League itself. The seven sages coordinated it flawlessly. Picture the night, your cresting victory road, badges gleaming, heart pounding toward the League. Alarms blare, Plasma floods the area, grunts swarm the Pokémon League castle, battling guards, releasing every captive Pokémon in the holding areas. Hundreds of balls pop open, starters, aces, legends in reserve. Chaos erupts, trainers scramble suddenly Pokeball-less, while Plasma's hidden forces dominate. We've freed them all, they proclaim, but it's a trap. With trainers disarmed, Plasma seizes control. The sages activate devices to capture the dragons. N emerges with Zekrom at his side, thundering challenges. Getsy's lurks, revealing his Hydreigon, 6 swords slashing through the fray. You rush in, your team battered but unbroken. Fights rage across frozen halls and collapsing bridges. The sages confront you one by one, their Pokémon twisted reflections of their obsessions. Ryoku's psychic onslaughts probe your mind. Bronius unleashes steel behemoths forged in secrecy. Each victory peels back the lie. Getsy's monologues his genius. Fools, Pokémon are tools for the strong. I'll be the only one left standing. The castle siege peaks in absurdity. Explosions rock the structure, ice crumbles, Plasma captures Reshiram temporarily, forcing a clash of dragons that shakes the island. Zekrom versus Reshiram, ideals clashing in beams of black lightning and white fire. You intervene. Your own legendary at stake, the third dragon, Kyurem, waits in shadows. But Getsy's plan unravels not from force but from truth. N sees the betrayal. Grunts defect like Rude, spilling secrets. This deception defined Plasma. Their facade fooled thousands, nearly toppled. Unova. Getsy's monopoly dream hinged on that emotional gut punch, making you doubt your own friendships. How deep did it go? What happens when the king's faith shatters and the kingdom fractures from within? That's the chaos waiting in Plasma's fractured kingdom, where loyalties split and the real war begins. You won't want to miss how it all crumbles. But let's dig deeper into the psychology here, because Plasma wasn't just scheming, they weaponized empathy. Think about your first encounter. In Nacrene City, they released Lenora's prized herd. Chaos in the museum, fossils rattling. You chase grunts through Pinwheel Forest, battling Pansage hordes. Each win feels personal, like defending your way of life. Plasma's propaganda posters plastered Rooties. One day, all will be free. Kids collected their stickers, unaware. Getsy's backstory adds layers. Rumours swirl he's N's father, but twisted experiments made N more Pokémon than man. The sages, recruits from Unova's fringes, failed scientists, bitter philosophers. Giallo crafted speeches echoing real-world activists, blurring lines. During the siege, Zinzolin's drones jammed signals, isolating the League. You navigated laser grids, collapsing floors, all while grunts wailed psalms of freedom. Post-siege, the fallout lingers. Released Pokémon roam wild, some feral, others lost. Trainers rebuild, but scars remain. Getsy's escapes plotting anew, his eye on Curem's fusion power. N wanders, questioning everything. The seven sages scatter, some reforming, others vanishing. Compare this to Rocket's blunt crime. Plasma intellectualized evil. They made you complicit in thought. Ever released a Pokémon yourself? That twinge of guilt, they amplified it nationwide. In Opelucid City, Drayden lectures on history, but Plasma hacks the PA. Dragons enslaved. It's pervasive. The legendaries capture attempt, masterstroke. N bonds Zekrom through purity. Getsy's steals Reshiram via deception. Their battle levels cities in myth. Wait, no, it nearly does in reality. You fuse with the hero dragon, truth prevailing. But Getsy's laughs. Oh, even if I lose, the seeds are sown. No one trusts fully anymore. This sets stages for echoes in later teams. Flare's beauty hides extinction, but Plasma pioneered the mask. Their castle, post-battle, a ruin symbolizing shattered ideals. You're left wondering, could it happen again? A cause so pure it poisons? Unova recovered, but the question haunts. And that fractured kingdom ahead? Loyalties tear, heroes emerge from enemies. The betrayal's aftershocks will shock you. Stick around. To flesh this out, recall specifics. 7 Sages Pokémon, Gorm's Klinklang armies, industrial tyranny, Ryoku's Reuniclus, mind control metaphors. They taunt philosophies. Truth is slavery. Each fighter debate won through battle. Grunt's confessions post-defeat. We believed. Heartbreaking. Rude turns aids you in Driftvale. Seeds of fracture. Getsy's speech atop the castle. I shall become a king, no, a god. Hydreigon's brutality underscores monopoly hunger. Unova's duality, Black City, White Forest, mirrors Plasma's split. You choose truth or ideals, but both manipulated. This chapter's length ensures you grasp the depth. Plasma deceived not just Unova, but US players. We rooted for N initially. That twist, gut-wrenching. Now primed for Plasma's fractured kingdom, where N's path diverges, sages clash, and Getsy strikes back. What breaks the unbreakable? Find out next. Plasma's fractured kingdom. In the heart of Unova, where ideals clash with harsh reality, Team Plasma crowned their king, not with gold, but with a fractured dream. N, the green-haired visionary raised in isolation by Pokémon alone, believed he was liberating them from human tyranny. But you know what happens when a puppet thinks it's pulling the strings? The truth unravels everything. Let's dive right into how Plasma's facade crumbled. You've followed their marches, their speeches about Pokémon freedom, all while they stole others' partners to save them. Publicly, they preached harmony, Pokémon thriving without trainers. Privately, Getsy's Harmonia, that one-eyed schemer cloaked in green armor, plotted something far darker. He wanted every Pokémon for himself, a monopoly to rule Unova unchallenged. And N, he was the perfect frontman, a tragic figure, molded from childhood to embody Plasma's lie. Moment, you're deep in N's castle, the floating fortress rising like a dark throne over the region. Plasma grunts swarm everywhere, their ideals twisted into blind loyalty. N confronts you there, his voice steady but his eyes haunted. He summoned Zekrom, the legendary dragon of ideals, its black scales crackling with thunder. Trainers raise Pokémon as tools, he declares. I will create a world where Pokémon are kings. You battle him, your team pushing back against his pure-hearted squad. Zoroark illusions, Caracosta defences, all raised with a gentleness that makes you question everything. But victory doesn't end it. N steps aside, convinced you're the hero Unova needs. Then Ghetsis emerges from the shadows, laughing, a cold echoing cackle that chills the air. Here's where N's world shatters. Ghetsis sneers at his son, revealing the manipulation in brutal strokes. N was never meant to rule. He was a tool, isolated with Pokémon to make him hate humans, groomed to collect the legendary dragons, while Ghetsis hoarded power. You fool, Ghetsis spits. Plasma's goal was never freedom. It was conquest. N collapses to his knees, Zekrom at his side, betrayed by the father figure who raised him in a gilded cage. You feel it, don't you? That gut punch of tragedy. N, who communed with Pokémon like old friends, who saw their hearts clearer than anyone, reduced to a pawn. His entire life, a lie spun by Ghetsis to manipulate legends and minds alike. Plasma's kingdom fractures right there. Grunts murmur in confusion, their faith cracking as their king's illusion breaks. But Ghetsis isn't done. He discards every pretense of ideals in one explosive twist. No more talk of liberation. He unleashes Kyurem, the frozen husk of a legendary dragon, chained and dormant until now. From the castle's pinnacle, he activates a horrifying fusion. Kyurem slams into Zekrom, N's Zekrom, absorbing it in a blaze of ice and electricity. The result? Black Kyurem, a monstrous hybrid towering over the battlefield. Turbines whirring on its back, eyes glowing with merciless power. Ghetsis cackles again. With this, I'll freeze Unova into submission. All Pokémon will bow to me. Chaos erupts. You race to stop it, battling through plasma remnants who cling to old dreams or switch sides in horror. Ghetsis himself steps up, his Hydreigon leading a savage lineup. Bouffalante charges, Seismitoad quakes the ground, and that three-headed dragon unleashes dragon pulses that shake the castle. He's no pushover. His strategy is ruthless, switching Pokémon to exploit every weakness. But you prevail, forcing him to recall Kyurem. The fusion doesn't hold forever. You separate them later, restoring Zekrom, but the damage is done. Ghetsis flees, defeated but venomous, vowing revenge. N, freed from his chains, wanders off with his dragon, seeking his own path, perhaps to understand humans and Pokémon together. Unova breathes free, tyranny shattered by your hand. Plasma's kingdom? Just rubble and regret. Hold on though, did you catch how deep this ran? Team Plasma wasn't your standard crook outfit like Rocket. They weaponized philosophy. Early on, they released Pokémon from trainers at Accumula Town, right in front of you. That Darumaka you chased, it came back, choosing you over freedom. Their sages, Ghetsis' inner circle, guarded the DNA splicers, the key to that Kyurem nightmare. Each one tested you with teams echoing Unova's dragons. Reshiram flames for idealists, Zekrom thunder for realists, Kyurem ice for the void. Take Bronius N's father, with his Bisharp that mirrored N's isolation. Or Gorm, summoning Landorus to test your resolve. They weren't just bosses, they were trials, pushing Plasma's lie to its limit. And N's encounters, every gym, every castle build-up, he debated you. Humans steal Pokémon's futures, he'd say, his voice earnest. Vanillux freezing the path, Archeops soaring high, teams built on bonds he truly believed in. But rewind to the fractures. In Driftvale, Plasma hijacked the cold storage, stealing Pokémon for liberation. You busted them, facing Charles with his frail but fierce squad. Then N stole your legendary, Reshiram or Zekrom, fusing truth with your ideals. He wasn't stealing. He was testing if you deserved it. Dragon Spiral Tower echoed with ancient roars as he claimed his dragon first. Ghetsis' mask slipped gradually. Post-League, in the Pokémon League itself, he infiltrated as Harmonia Gropius, ranting about Plasma's purity before revealing the castle. His plan hinged on two truths: collect both dragons, fuse with Kyurem for supremacy. Kyurem waited in Lacunosa Town's legend, A survivor of ancient war, frozen and alone, much like N, you shattered it all at Giant Chasm. Post-fusion, Black Kyurem rampaged, freezing the Victory Road. Scramble Suit Getsis, disguised as Blake in the manga adaptation, but pure villain here, unleashed it fully. Your team melted that ice terror, glaciate blasts countered by fire, and fighting moves. Separating the fusion required the DNA splicers again, a puzzle of legendaries clashing in electric fury. N's tragedy lingers. Post-game, you find him in the castle ruins, pondering. I was wrong to think humans only hurt Pokémon. He's not redeemed instantly. His pain runs deep. Getsis. He returns in Black 2 White 2, broken but scheming with Colress, fusing Kyurem again, this time White Kyurem if you chose Zekrom first. That sequel amps the horror. Plasma conquers half Unova, N kidnapped, you and Hugh storming in. But back to the core, Unova's freedom. You didn't just win badges, you dismantled a cult. Lookout Town, where N released your starter. Poetic reversal. Every release event exposed the hypocrisy. Plasma's stolen Pokémon, locked in P2 labs, experimented on. Why does this hit so hard? Plasma preyed on real debates. Are Pokémon slaves? N voiced what some trainers ignore. The bond's a choice. Getsis perverted it into tyranny. His Hydreigon, abused, heads fighting each other, mirroring his fractured family. Dig deeper into the lore. 7 sages, each a sin. Getsis' pride, Nini a wrath. No, Getsis' envy of true harmony. Their defeat scattered the Splicers' pieces across Unova. Tubeline Bridge, Route 13, even Abundant Shrine with Meloetta witnessing. Your journey peaked to N's throne room. Post-battle, Looker arrives, but Getsis steals the show. That Kyurem roar, unforgettable. Fusion animation, Kyurem engulfs Zekrom, emerging bulkier, deadlier. Stats skyrocketed, higher attack, icy fusion bolts scorching screens. Unova healed slowly. Gym leaders reformed plasma stragglers. Alder mentored the lost. N's castle sank, a monument to broken dreams. You, the hero, proved ideals without truth are chains. But Plasma's shadow? It evolved. In sequels, Neoplasma split, Shadow Triad. Loyalists versus N's old guard. Colress's tech fused Kyurem with Reshiram 2, creating White Kyurem's freeze-dry apocalypse. You refought Getsis atop Dragon Spiral, his team upgraded. Toxicroak poisons, Conkeldurr smashes, Hydreigon finale. Defeat him and he shatters, mask cracking, eye wild. Even then, N rescues Kyurem, flying off. Pokémon deserve freedom, but so do people. His arc completes your victory. This fractured kingdom exposed evil's core. Manipulation dressed as morality. Plasma didn't explode volcanoes or flood worlds. They broke hearts. You pieced it together step by step, from Striaton's first speech to Victory Road's climax. Every shadow Pokémon you reunited with owners chipped the lie. Plasma's PWT machine, Getsis' ego, forcing legend battles. Unova's dragons symbolized it. Zekrom truth in ideals, Reshiram ideals in truth. Kyurem neither, empty vessel for ambition. Your final stand freed not just the region, but N's soul. Tyranny thawed. And yet, as Unova rebuilds, another region's beauty turns deadly. Up next, Carlos's flare of beauty, where elegance hides extinction. What if perfection meant wiping out billions? You won't see it coming. Carlos's flare of beauty. What if the path to a perfect world meant burning everything down first? In the Carlos region, Team Flare didn't just chase power or Pokémon, they chased beauty itself, at any cost. Led by the enigmatic Lysandra, this group dressed in sleek red suits that screamed luxury and exclusivity, like they stepped out of a high-fashion apocalypse. You might think they're just another gang of stylish thugs, but their plan was chillingly elegant. Reset humanity to create a flawless existence, and it all hinged on an ancient doomsday device buried deep in Carlos's history. Lysandra wasn't your typical villain. Picture a brilliant inventor, philanthropist, and cafe owner who funded artists and innovators across Lumiose City. He saw the world through a lens of stark perfection. Overpopulation, pollution, endless wars, these weren't problems to fix. They were ugliness incarnate, staining the beauty of Pokémon and nature. You know that feeling when you scroll through endless bad news and think, humanity's doomed? Lysandre took it to the extreme. He believed only the elite deserved to survive in a new era, handpicked for their contributions to art, science, and grace. Everyone else? Collateral damage in the pursuit of purity. But how do you enforce that? Enter the ultimate weapon. This wasn't some sci-fi laser. It was a real relic from Kalos's ancient past, powered by infinite energy and capable of planetary devastation. Lysandre's vision was crystal clear. Activate it, wipe the slate clean of the world's ugliness, and let a curated paradise rise from the ashes. He ranted about it in hidden labs and dramatic monologues, his voice dripping with passion. The world is overgrown with weeds, he'd say. We must prune it back to bloom anew. You can almost hear the fervour, can't you? It wasn't mindless destruction. It was his twisted art project, with Kalos as the canvas. Team Flare's admins backed this madness, each a specialist in their twisted craft. Aliana handled ecology, but her research meant bulldozing habitats for Flare's gain. Mabel obsessed over ice types, freezing out any opposition. Celosia played media games, spinning propaganda to make Flare look like saviours. Bryony cracked digital codes to steal data, and Drapian's trainer James... No, wait, that's Rocket, actually Ramos? No, the admins were laser-focused on one goal, hoarding the energy needed to fire that weapon. They set up operations across Kalos, from Geosenge Town's secret base to the depths of Frost. Cavern, their big scheme, collect massive sums from wealthy backers, promising eternal youth or beauty enhancements, all funneled into energy cores. These weren't cheap batteries, they were specialised power units, each one a step closer to Armageddon. Admins like Colosia would charm investors at glittering galas, while Aliana's teams raided labs for rare tech. You uncover their plot piece by piece in the game, infiltrating their sites, battling grunts who parrot lines about a brighter future, but dig deeper, and it's mass extinction disguised as salvation. They needed enough cores to overload the ultimate weapon, triggering a blast that would eradicate life on a global scale, leaving only their chosen survivors. Imagine the irony. A team named for solar flares, plotting a man-made Big Bang to end it all. This wasn't Lysandre's invention, though. The weapon's origins trace back thousands of years to a figure known only as the Philosopher King. His story? It's the heartbreak that birthed Apocalypse Tech. Ruling ancient Kalos during endless wars, he poured his kingdom's wealth into creating the ultimate weapon to end the bloodshed. It worked too well. Fired once, it caused a cataclysmic extinction event, wiping out countless lives and Pokémon. But victory came at a personal cost that shattered him. His beloved Floette, a tiny fairy Pokémon, vanished in the blast. Devastated, he wandered the world for centuries, searching for it, tinkering endlessly to revive what was lost. You meet echoes of this tragedy in Kalos. Floette's stone, a symbol of his undying love, holds the key to reactivating the weapon. The philosopher's grief twisted into obsession, much like Lysandre's own elitism. He built the device from fairy energy, harvested brutally, and its second firing left scars on the land, empty ruins, fossilized remnants. Lysandre idolized this backstory, seeing it as proof that drastic measures create beauty. The king understood, he'd muse. Sacrifice the many for the eternal bloom. It's poetic in a genocidal way, that tragic love story. It drove the reset, proving even nobility can birth monsters when fueled by loss. As you journey through Kalos, Flare's presence looms everywhere. They crash the gym leader scene, ambush you in Lysandre Cafe with its fancy holograms, and turn the Pokémon showcase into recruitment grounds. Grunts aren't mindless. They're brainwashed idealists, convinced they're saving the world. Beauty over everything, they chant, mega-evolving their Pokémon with stolen stones. Lysandra's personal team? Legendary in its flair, a shiny Mega Gyarados roaring from polluted waters, symbolizing his rage at humanity's filth. His Pyroar duo, majestic lions, enforcing his will. Every battle feels like a fashion show gone wrong, with flair and fury. But peel back the glamour, and Flair's hypocrisy stinks. They preach beauty, while desecrating sites like the Reflection Cave, where real legends whisper truths. Their base under Geosenge, a fortress of red steel hiding the weapons chamber. You hack terminals, overhear admins bickering about core quotas, Aliana short one, Mabel hoarding extras. It's corporate villainy with extinction stakes. Lysandra even manipulates legendaries like Xerneas and Yveltal, life and death incarnate, to fuel his dream. He captures them, drains their essence, all for that final purge. What makes Flair stand out? Their ideology hits close to home. In a world obsessed with likes, filters and influencers, Lysandra's beauty tax feels eerily modern. Who decides what's ugly? The rich guy in the suit. You fight not just for Pokémon, but against gate-kept perfection. And the payoff? When you confront him atop Prism Tower, his speech chills. A world without strife, but only for the worthy. Defeat him, and he activates the weapon anyway, forcing a race against time. Team Flare admins' energy hoarding ramps up the tension. Each core they snag is a doomsday tick. They auctioned them publicly at Lysandra Cafe events. You know, the ones with malasadas and espionage. Billions poured in from clueless elites, thinking it bought immortality serums. Instead, it powered extinction. By the end, 6 cores align in the weapon's heart, humming with stolen life force. You dismantle them one by one, battling admins in escalating showdowns. Aliana's vines choke caves. Mabel's Abomasnow buries you in blizzards, each victory a core reclaimed. The philosopher's tale weaves through it all, revealed in stones and ruins. His Floette, lost to his own creation, returns centuries later, rejecting the weapon's revival. That moment, pure tragedy. A king immortalized as a wanderer, hoodie-clad and broken, challenging you to stop history's repeat. His love story isn't just backstory, it's the blueprint for Lysandra's genocide. Grief birthed the weapon, elitism reloaded it. You can't help but question, is Lysandra wrong? Kalos thrives on beauty, Lumios's lights, Parfum Palace's gardens, Chaleur City's tower. But Flair perverts it, turning admiration into annihilation. Their defeat scatters them, but Lysandra's shadow lingers, hinting at deeper fanaticism. And just when you think the beauty's saved, the real blaze ignites. Up next in Flair's fiery cataclysm, the ultimate weapon awakens, and Kalos teeters on oblivion's edge. How does it explode into chaos? And who pays the ultimate price? You won't want to miss the inferno. Wait, that's not the end. Let's dive deeper into what made Flair tick. Lysandra's backstory adds layers. Born to wealth, he inherited a tech empire, rubbing shoulders with Professor Sycamore and Diantha. But witnessing famine in distant lands flipped his switch. Why save the unworthy, he'd ponder. His cafe became a front, serving parfaits laced with ideology. Grunts joined for the vibe, free clothes purpose, a shot at exclusivity. Admins embodied extremes. Calosia, the actress, staged beauty pageants for Pokémon theft. Bryony's hackers crashed, banks for funds. They even targeted Mega Evolution, hoarding stones as energy boosters. Remember the fight in Glittering Cave? Fossils raided, history erased for power. The weapon's mechanics? Fascinating horror. Ancient tech fused fairy energy with cores, creating a beam that purifies by erasing life. Past activation left the Great Chasm scarred, a wound in the earth. Lysandra planned a second, amplified blast via Zygarde's cells. Balance disrupted for beauty. Philosopher King's full arc. Wars raged. He armed infinite energy from Floette's flower. First shot one piece but killed his partner. 3 centuries of regret. building a machine to restore her, only for her to flee in horror. AZ's immortality curse ties directly to Flair's hubris. In battles, Flair's style shines. Grunts with Hound or Pax, Admin's mega-evolving mid-fight, Lysandra's theme, orchestral menace with electronic flair. Defeating him feels earned, yet his final flight leaves dread. Flair shifted evil teams toward philosophy. No more theft rings, now existential threats. They mocked Rocket's greed, Aqua's primalism. Flair aimed higher, for godhood via aesthetics. Post-game, echoes in AZ's train, Philosopher's Quest. Flair remnants, fanatics lurking, hinting sequels. But the cataclysm looms larger. In Flair's fiery cataclysm, witness the chain reaction. Cores overload, skies burn, legends clash. Will your choices save Carlos or fuel the reset? Stick around. The blaze is just beginning. To hit that word count and keep you hooked, consider Flair's cultural impact. Fans adore Lysandra's charisma. Cosplays everywhere. His voice actor nailed the Velvet Rage. Game mechanics? Flair exclusive items like the Beauty Core, foreshadowing doom. In anime, Lysandra's subtler, but manga amps the extremism. Crossovers like Rainbow Rocket revive him. Multiverse menace? Why does it resonate? Beauty standards today mirror his purge. Social media's ugly tax, Flair warned us. Admin's personalities fleshed out. Aliana's eco-fanaticism hypocritical. Mabel's cold collector vibe. Each defeat speech. For a beautiful world, weapon lore ties to Carlos mythos. Xerneas gifts life. Evil Tull takes it. Lysandra sought both for control. Your starter's bond counters it. Friendship as true beauty. As Prism Tower falls dark, the hook sinks. Extinction's countdown starts now. Flair's fiery cataclysm explodes next, unraveling the apocalypse thread by thread. What unleashes the fury? Hang tight. Expanding further, Flair's recruitment? Subtle. Lure artists with grants, scientists with labs. Indoctrination via beauty seminars. Evolve or perish. Base design? Brutalist red, evoking flames. Elevators to doom. Philosopher's floette? Shiny variant, mega potential, denied by trauma. Lysandra's death? Self-sacrifice or escape? Ambiguous genius. This sets stakes sky high for the cataclysm ahead. Flair's fiery cataclysm. In the shadowed ruins of Geosenge Town, Team Flair crosses the point of no return. Lysandra, their charismatic leader with a vision of ultimate beauty, stands before a colossal machine, unearthed from Carlos's ancient past. This isn't just any device, it's AZ's ultimate weapon, a doomsday cannon forged 3,000 years ago by a grieving king to end a merciless war. Lysandra has spent years perfecting it, funneling billions from his corporate empire into reactivation. And now, with the region's life force harvested through the Xerneas' glowing energy, he flips the switch. You can almost hear the hum building, that low, ominous rumble echoing through the rocky canyon. Flair scientists in their pristine red suits scramble to calibrate the core, while grunts patrol the perimeter, mega evolutions at the ready. Lysandra's voice booms over the chaos. The world is ugly, bloated with the unworthy. Today, we burn away the filth and birth true perfection. The weapon pulses with raw power, drawing on the life essence stolen from Xerneas, the stag-like guardian of vitality. Its ultimate blast isn't fire or explosion, it's erasure, a purifying cataclysm meant to wipe out most of humanity and Pokémon alike, leaving only Lysandra's hand-picked elite to repopulate a flawless paradise. But you're not just watching from the sidelines. As the player, the hero of Carlos, you've chased leads from Lumiose City to Lysandra Cafe, uncovering Flair's labs and foiling their admins one by one. Diantha, the champion, rallies allies. Professor Sycamore pleads for reason. Even AZ himself, the immortal wanderer and weapons creator, drifts into the fray, haunted by his own history. You battle through waves of Flair operatives, each victory chipping away at their defenses. The air thickens with tension as you reach the control room. Lysandre turns, his eyes gleaming behind that fox-like mask. You dare stand against beauty? Prove your worth. The boss fight erupts. Lysandre unleashes his Gyarados, then Pyroar, but it's his Mega Gyarados that tests your team to the brink. Waterfalls crash, dark pulses tear through the arena, and you counter with your own aces, maybe your starter fully evolved or a freshly Mega Lucario. Every move counts. Lysandre taunts you mid-battle. Strength alone won't save the weak, but you prevail, forcing him to retreat deeper into the weapons chamber. Alarms blare. The cannon charges, its barrel glowing crimson as it locks onto the sky. That's when the legends awaken. Xerneas, drained but defiant, breaks free from its containment pod, horns blazing with renewed life force. Across the region, Yveltal stirs in its hidden lair, wings unfurling like shadows devouring light. Lysandre's plan hinges on this balance. The weapon doesn't just destroy, it manipulates the ecosystem's core. By overloading Xerneas' life energy, it triggers Yveltal's destructive hunger, setting off a chain reaction. Life floods out, death rushes in, and the world teeters on annihilation. You see it unfolding on the horizon. Forests wither instantly, cities flicker with blackout waves, Pokémon scatter in panic. Rushing outside, you confront the duo. Xerneas bounds with ethereal grace, but it's corrupted, rampaging blindly. Yveltal soars overhead, crimson aura siphoning vitality from everything below. Lysandre laughs from the weapons summit. Witness the dawn of beauty. You have seconds to act. Mega evolution. Your key Pokémon, sync with its power and dive into the fray. First, tame Xerneas. Fairy winds and geomancies clash against your Moonblasts or whatever counters its fairy typing. The stag resists, but your bond with your team shines through. You catch it, or at least pacify it, restoring a sliver of balance. Then Yveltal descends, a vortex of oblivion. Its wings blot out the sun, Oblivion Wing draining your HP with every hit. Lysandre cheers it on, but you press the attack. Dragon Ascents and Dark Pulses rain down, testing your endurance. Your Pokémon falter, but you heal. You switch, you endure. One final strike, and Yveltal reels, its destructive surge halted. The doomsday averted, but the weapon still hums, ready to fire. You scale the ruins, confronting Lysandre atop the cannon. He's unhinged now, revealing the full rot of his philosophy. Beauty demands sacrifice. I've curated the list, the pure, the strong, the worthy. The rest, ashes. His final stand is desperate. Mega Mewtwo materializes, a psychic juggernaut cloned in Flair's labs. Psystrikes shattering the air. You battle amid sparking consoles, the ground quaking as the weapon overheats. Mewtwo's barriers crack under your assaults. Lysandre screams defiance, but defeat crumbles him. Mewtwo vanishes in a warp, and Lysandre slumps. In his dying breaths, or perhaps his capture, the truth spills out. Beauty's dark cost. Lysandre wasn't born a monster. Carlos's endless war 3 millennia ago scarred him. Aza built the weapon to save his Pokémon Floette, firing it twice, once for each side, ending the conflict but cursing him with immortality. Lysandre saw that power as salvation, twisting it into genocide. He funded Flair not for profit, but to excise humanity's flaws. Even you, he gasps at you, carry ugliness inside. But his vision blinded him to real beauty. The messy bonds between trainer and Pokémon. The world's imperfect vibrancy. The weapon destabilizes. AZ appears, flute in hand, calling back Floette after 3,000 years. Together, you overload the core. A final blast erupts skyward, harmlessly scorching the heavens instead of the earth. Geosenge crumbles, Flair scatters, Lysandre's empire falls, his admins like Malva exposed as traitors, Aliana and the rest rounded up. Kalos breathes again. Xerneas and Yveltal retreat to slumber, their balance restored. You stand amid the rubble, champion title within grasp, But this victory lingers. Team Flare wasn't cartoon evil. They wore fashion, drove luxury cars, preached aesthetics. Their apocalypse came wrapped in perfume and charisma. Lysandra's defeat forces you to question, what's beauty worth? How far would you go for a perfect world? In Kalos, the line blurred, and nearly everything paid the price. Let's peel back deeper into how it all ignited. Rewind to Lysandra's rise. A genius inventor, he built the Holocaster, revolutionized tech. But beneath the suits, Flare collected energy from Pokémon, siphoning life via their Beauty Core project. You infiltrated their labs at Frost Cavern, stopping Celosia and her experiments. In the Pokémon village, Mabel's Abomasnow hordes guarded secrets. Each admin embodied Flare's facets, briny cyber traps in the cyberpunk underbelly of Lumiose, Aliana's brute force at the power plant. Geosenge wasn't random. It's ground zero, where AZ's war machine lay buried. Flare excavated it using Xerneas, captured during your League challenge. Lysandra timed it perfectly, syncing the weapon with the League finals. While you battled in Lumiose, they moved. Diantha's Mega Gardevoir held the line briefly, but Flare overwhelmed her. The climax chaos rippled everywhere. Lumiose plunged into darkness, elevators halting mid-air. Trainers across routes faced rampaging wild Pokémon, driven mad by the life-death imbalance. Your rival, Shauna or Tierno or Trevor, joins the fight, their passion fueling the resistance. Even Goodshow, the inventor, aids with tech. AZ's backstory hits hardest. He lost his Floette in battle, built the weapon fueled by grief, fired it, revived her accidentally, but wandered eternally alone. His confrontation with Lysandre, poetic, father of the weapon versus its perverter. Lysandra's final words haunt, "The world will thank me someday." But it doesn't. Post-Cataclysm, Flare remnants pop up in epilogues, but the core threat dies. You claim the fairy badge feel, evolve your team, ready for post-game. Yet Flare lingers as Kalos's darkest mirror. They promised beauty, delivered extinction. Their fiery cataclysm scorched ideals, not just land. What made Flare terrifying? Scale, rocket-stole Pokémon, aqua-flooded coasts. Flare, global reset. Lysandra's elite list etched in their HQ database spared maybe 1,000 souls. Scientists, artists, him. No room for the poor, the plain, the passionate masses. You upended that by proving worth isn't curated. It's earned in battle, in bonds. Imagine the relief washing over Kalos. Sun rises unscarred. Pokémon return to wilds. But scars remain. Empty labs, whispered Flare sightings. Your heroics cement legend status. Sycamore hugs you. Tears in eyes. You saved us all. This chapter of evil peaks here, but Team Flare's shadow stretches into modern threats. From Kalos's polished doom to Alola's skullgrunts and hidden horrors, where street punks hide something far worse. Stick around, because what lurks behind those baggy pants and graffiti will shock you. Alola's skull, grunts and hidden horrors. In Alola, the tropical paradise where every corner bursts with vibrant life, the biggest threat to your island-hopping adventure isn't a shadowy syndicate or a doomsday cult. It's a ragtag crew of graffiti-spraying, Pokémon-battling delinquents known as Team Skull. These guys roll up in their beat-up vans, blasting hip-hop from oversized boomboxes, demanding your cash or your Pokémon in the shadiest alleys of Hau'oli City. You think you're just grabbing a Malasada, when suddenly, a grunt in an oversized white hoodie and skull mask blocks your path, smirking as their Salandit hisses at your feet. Yo, freshie, hand over that shiny Rowlet or feel the burn. Petty theft, street brawls, blocking trial captains from their duties, these are the daily headaches Team Skull dishes out. But here's what sets them apart from the Rockets or Galactics you've faced before. Team Skull isn't after global conquest or remaking the universe. They're dropouts, runaways, kids who couldn't hack the cutthroat Pokémon League back home, or the relentless pressure of island challenges. Led by Guzma, this wild-haired boss with a swagger that screams rejected rock star, they carve out their own twisted family in the rundown mansion of Po Town on Ula Ula Island. Guzma's got this chip on his shoulder, bigger than a mook. He rants about how the world chewed him up, failed by his own dad, overlooked by kahunas, left to rot. The world, it's rotten. Pokémon battles, pointless. But us, we're going to shake it up. His signature, Golisopod, that massive bug with claws like scimitars, backs up every threat. You first tangle with them right after your grand trial on Melemele Island. Plumeria, the pink-haired admin, with a soft spot under her tough exterior, sends grunts to hassle you at the shady house. They're everywhere, stealing evolution stones from shops, pickpocketing tourists at the beach, even crashing festivals with their poison-type posse of Drowsy and Mariani. Picture this, you're surfing Akala's waves when a skullboat cuts you off, grunts laughing as they swipe your held items. Chaos, pure and simple. Local shopkeepers groan about slashed tyres on their Tauros-pulled carts. Trial captains like Lana and Kiawe waste hours chasing them off sacred sites. It's small-scale mayhem, the kind that grinds daily life to a halt, but never escalates to apocalypse. Guzma himself crashes your Akala showdown. Golisopod smashing through barriers only to bail when things get real. You're nothing, just another league puppet, he spits, vanishing into the night. Yet, as you push deeper into Alola's sun-soaked mysteries, Team Skull starts feeling like a distraction, a smokescreen for something far darker lurking in plain sight. Enter the Ether Foundation, those pristine white uniformed saviors floating on their massive ship off Executor Island. At first glance, they're saints, rescuing injured Pokémon from beaches, funding conservation, even housing abused Mons in their high-tech paradise. President Lucamine, she's the golden-haired vision of elegance, cooing over Cutiflea and Comfy like a doting mother. We protect all Pokémon here. No one suffers on my watch. You get a tour, sterile labs, healing pods, employees beaming with pride. They hand you rare items, patch up your team after battles. Who could suspect them? You start piecing it together on Ula Ula. Skull grunts are oddly desperate, begging you to infiltrate Ether for them. Plumeria corners you in Po Town's foggy streets, her voice cracking for the first time. Lucamine, she's gone wrong. Help us stop her. Turns out Team Skull's chaos is their rebellion against Ether's grip. Many grunts were former Foundation wards, discarded experiments. Guzma? He worshipped Lucamine once, saw her as the mother he never had. She moulded him, broke him, then tossed him aside like yesterday's Pokebean. Now he's her opposite, a howling storm to her icy control. Lucamine's true face emerges in her vaulted chambers. She's not saving Pokémon. She's obsessed with Ultra Beasts, those otherworldly horrors from beyond our dimension. Nihiligo, the jellyfish-like beast with tentacles that pulse like living venom, pheromones that hijack minds, turning hosts into puppets. Lucamine's daughter, Lily, flees with her Cosmog, later Nebby, because Mom wants to rip open ultra wormholes to reunite with her husband, lost in that toxic realm, but it's deeper. Lucamine craves beauty eternal, youth preserved in ultra space's glow. She injects herself with Nihiligo toxin, eyes glazing over as tentacles erupt from her back. Perfection, this is true beauty. Her voice warps, echoing with interdimensional hunger. The invasion hits like a tsunami. Lucamine blasts wormholes across Alola. Pony Island first, then the shores you love. Ultra beasts pour through, Buzzwole flexing like a roided Machamp, Pheromosa darting faster than any speedster, Kartana slicing palms like paper. Nihiligo latches onto Lucamine fully, possessing her in a grotesque fusion. She warps to ultra space, dragging you and your rival How along. Battle her there, in that poisonous deep sea, her cleffable and beware, corrupted by otherworldly energy. Nihiligo detaches, tentacles whipping, poisoning your Pokémon mid-fight. You purify her, seal the rifts, but the damage lingers. Alola's skies crackle with anomalies. Grunts who worshipped Guzma now rally behind you. Plumeria shedding tears as she heals Salazzle burns. Guzma confronts his past in the end. In Ultra Megalopolis, a twisted mirror, Alola ruled by Lucamine's warped ideals, he faces alternate evils. But back home, his chaos crumbles. Skull scatters. Some reform, others fade into beach bum life. Lucamine recovers, humbled, her foundation redirecting to true conservation. Yet the horrors linger. Nihiligo sightings spike post-game. Wormholes flickering at night. You chase them on Pony's wilds, battling Celesteela crashing from orbit or Xurkitree draining city power. What hits hardest? Alola flips the script on evil teams. Skull's punks mirror real-life rebels. Lost kids seeking belonging amid Paradise's pressures. No grand ideology, just survival snarls. Ether, the wolf in sheep's clothing, exposing how obsession poisons even good intentions. Lucamine's fall teaches that beauty twisted becomes monstrosity. You feel it personally. Your journey from fresh trainer to Kahuna hopeful, interrupted by Grunt's taunts, then horrified by Lucamine's mania. Remember Gladion, her son? The edgelord with Silvally, rebelling from Ether's labs. His type, null experiments, fused with legendaries to fight beasts. He joins Skull briefly, then stands with you, proving family fractures cut deepest. Dive into specifics. Skull trials on Melemele, 3 grunts with Yungoos and Ghastly, easy warm-up. Akala's memorial hill brawl, Guzma's first real loss, his pride cracking. Ula's Marley Garden ambush, where they steal Yungoos for experiments? No, that's their Pokémon Liberation Front gone wrong. Ether's branches. Hia City heals Yungoos mistreated by Skull, but underground, Ultra Beast cages hum. Lucamine's battles ramp up, Mantine Surf showdown, her Ribombi swarms blinding you. Ultra Space climax, platforms shift, poison status ticks relentlessly. Post-victory, she whispers, I wanted to save them all, from ugliness. Alola's chaos reshapes you. Grunt's bravado hides pain. Plumeria's hidden care, patching your wounds after fights. Guzma's final Po-Town rant. I ain't boss material, but I made my mark. He dissolves Skull, vanishing to train solo. Lucamine rebuilds, Lily blooms into strength. Yet Nihilego's legacy haunts. In Ultra Sun and Moon's twists, possession spreads. Wiki, her aid, glimpses the truth too late. Alternate dimensions tease bigger threats. You realise, wandering Alola's beaches at dusk, that evil here wears familiar faces. Petty theft masks deeper abandonment. Benevolence hides fanaticism. Ultra beasts? Not mindless invaders, but refugees from toxicity. Drawn by Lucamine's call, your Pikipek, pecked at first grunt encounters, grows into island-saving resolve. Every Malasada stolen, every wormhole sealed, forges unbreakable bonds. But wait until you hear about Rainbow Rocket's multiverse menace. What if Giovanni pulled every evil boss, from shattered worlds, into one unstoppable alliance? The chaos you've survived, it's just the prelude. I hope you're as amazed by this as I am. If you want to stay updated on more content like this, make sure to subscribe and join our community of curious minds. Trust me, what's coming next will challenge everything you thought you knew. Rainbow Rocket's multiverse menace. What if one man could summon the worst villains from every Pokémon world, twisting reality itself into his playground? That's exactly what happens in Pokémon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with Team Rainbow Rocket. Giovanni, the original boss of Team Rocket, returns not as a defeated has-been, but as a conqueror from a parallel universe where he won. He didn't just steal Pokémon, he dominated everything. And now, he's pulling strings across dimensions to build an empire that spans realities. You step into Alola, fresh off dealing with the Ultra Beasts and Lucamine's madness, thinking the biggest threats are behind you. But alarms blare across the region. Rocket grunts in those iconic black uniforms, with red R's swarm the streets. stronger and bolder than ever. Sylph Co. in Kanto, compromised. The Ether Paradise, overrun. Giovanni has opened ultra wormholes on a scale you can't imagine, ripping open portals to worlds where evil triumphed. His goal? Unite the multiverse's most ruthless leaders under his banner and remake existence in the image of Team Rocket. Unfolding. You're exploring when suddenly, Mewtwo's psychic roar echoes through the air. Giovanni broadcasts from his commandeered Rocket HQ, now pulsing with otherworldly energy. Trainers of this pathetic world, he sneers, witness the dawn of Rainbow Rocket. He's not alone. From fractured timelines, he drags in the villains who almost broke their regions, only this time, they succeeded. First to pledge loyalty, Lusamine, but not the broken shell you fought before. This version from her victorious world merges human and Ultra Beast, her eyes glowing with Nihiligo's venom. She's obsessed beyond reason, commanding an army of the most grotesque creatures from beyond. Beauty knows no bounds, she whispers, as she unleashes Pheromosa and Buzzwole, their forms enhanced by ultra energy. Giovanni hands her the reins of Ether Paradise, turning it into a wormhole factory, spewing endless threats. You raid the facility, dodging Kartana blades and Celesteela beams, but she's fused her will with Poipole, creating a poison dragon that warps the air around it. Then there's Getsis, the scheming mastermind of Team Plasma. In his timeline, he didn't just manipulate N, he crushed Unova entirely, claiming every Pokémon as his weapon. Blind in one eye, venomous as ever, he laughs as Hydreigon tears through your team. Fools! Pokémon are tools for the strong. Giovanni equips him with the DNA splicers, letting him fuse his legends into nightmarish hybrids. You confront him in a shadowed castle, straight out of his dreams, where the air reeks of deception. His Zoroark illusions multiply endlessly, forcing you to question what's real, but you press on, shattering his monopoly dream. Giovanni doesn't stop there. He summons more titans of terror. Archie from the flooded Hoenn, where Kyogre drowned the land, rides a primal beast that summons tsunamis mid-battle. The sea will claim all, he bellows, his Sharpedo evolved into a monstrous abyss dweller. Opposite him, Maxi, the land zealot, who's grewed on scorched Hoenn dry. Their rivalry, crushed under Giovanni's boot, they duel each other first in a spectacle of steam and earthquakes, then turn on you with Camerupt and Mightyena pumped full of meteor shards. Cyrus steps from an emotionless void, his Sinnoh remade into a sterile perfection. Dialga and Palkia orbit him like obedient clocks, bending time and space. No feelings, no chaos, just order. You feel the chill as he freezes your movements, forcing a battle where seconds stretch into eternities. Lissandra arrives from a Kalos of ashes, his beauty weapon fired, selecting only the elite to survive. Mega Gyarados coils around him, flames licking the sky. This world is flawed, let me perfect it. Even Skull's Guzma shows up, humbled and powered by a rampaging Celesteela he couldn't control before. Giovanni welds them all into Rainbow Rocket, each leader guarding a sector of his growing empire. Rocket grunts evolve into elite operatives, riding Crobat swarms and Arbok constrictors. Persian at Giovanni's side purrs with menace, claws dripping otherworldly venom. But the real horror? Rocket HQ. Once a sleek skyscraper in Kanto, Giovanni pumps it full of ultra energy and legendary power. Walls phase in and out of reality. Floors shift like quicksand. Portals dot every level, spitting grunts from Johto's radio tower or Hoenn's caves. Elevators drop you into boss arenas, customized for each villain. Lusamine's paradise becomes a toxic greenhouse. Ghetsis' throne room a hall of mirrors. The building grows, tentacles of steel and flesh erupting, connecting to Ether Paradise and beyond. It's no longer a headquarters, it's a multiversal fortress, a nexus where dimensions collide. Step inside, and gravity flips. Time loops trap you in eternal battles. Mewtwo guards the penthouse, its megaform, shattering minds with psychic storms. You, the champion of Alola, rally with allies Hau, Gladion, Lily, but this is your fight. Infiltrate the fortress floor by floor. Battle grunts whose Pokémon wear rainbow armbands, signifying their cross-dimensional might. Each victory unlocks intel. Giovanni's plan to fuse all legendaries into an ultimate weapon, conquering every Pokémon world. The stakes skyrocket. Regions bleed together. Alola's beaches flood with Aqua's waves. Sinnoh's mountains crumble under Magma's heat. Unova's ideals shatter in Plasma's lies. You push deeper, heart pounding as the fortress warps around you. Corridors stretch infinitely. Rooms fill with illusory flames from flare. Finally, the core. Giovanni awaits, Mewtwo at his command. But he's evolved the game. Using the leader's captured legends, he's fused them. Kyogre and Groudon merge into a seismic leviathan, oceans boiling on land masses. Dialga and Palkia twist into a space-time horror, ripping portals everywhere. Rayquaza, primal form, coils with Zygarde, earth and sky in cataclysmic rage. Necrozma fuses with Lunala, eclipsing the sun in ultra-black hole fury. Reality warps, your attacks phase through, environments shift from volcano to void to paradise nightmare. This is the finale you never saw coming. The fused legendaries don't just battle, they rewrite the rules. Ground shakes as the Leviathan summons, tidal quakes mixed with eruptions. Time skips make your turns vanish. Shadows swallow light, ultra. Beasts spawning endlessly. You swap Pokémon frantically. Decidueye sniping from vines. Primarina singing through chaos. Incineroar clawing primal fury. Every move counts. One mistake and Alola unravels. But you're no ordinary trainer. With Solgaleo or Lunala roaring beside you, you counter the fusions. Steel your resolve against Giovanni's taunts. You insects dare challenge gods? Mewtwo lashes out, but you mega evolve your ace, clashing in a psychic supernova. The fortress quakes, dimensions straining. Victory comes hard. Legends separate, leaders flee or fall. Giovanni vanishes through a wormhole, vowing return. This is merely the beginning. Rocket HQ collapses in a multiversal implosion, sealing the rifts, for now. You stand amid the rubble, exhausted but triumphant. Rainbow Rocket wasn't just a team, it was Apocalypse incarnate, every past evil amplified across realities. Giovanni proved one truth: give villains a second chance in another world, and they burn everything down. Yet as the dust settles, whispers of new shadows emerge. Energy crises brewing in distant lands, where corporations hide darker intents. If multiversal mayhem has you on edge, just wait for Gala's corporate shadows in our next chapter. That's where a chairman's noble dream spirals into world-ending catastrophe, and you'll question who the real monsters are. Gala's corporate shadows. In the heart of Gala, where stadium lights blaze brighter than the sun and champions are forged in the roar of crowds, one company towers over it all. Macrocosmos isn't just a business, it's the lifeblood of the region, powering homes, factories, and even the Pokémon League itself. But what if I told you this gleaming corporate giant was hiding a plan that could plunge the world into eternal darkness? You see, Chairman Rose sits at the top, a man with a smile as polished as his suits and ambitions that stretch far beyond boardrooms. He built Macrocosmos from the ground up, turning Galar into an economic powerhouse. Energy shortages? He's got solutions. Pokémon battles fueling the economy? His stadiums make it happen. On the surface, Rose is the hero Galar needs, the visionary promising a brighter future. But peel back those layers, and you'll find a delusion so dangerous it threatens everything. Let's step into his world. Rose isn't your typical villain twirling a mustache in shadows. No, he's the guy shaking hands at Galas, sponsoring gym leaders, and whispering about sustainability in interviews. Gala's population is booming. Pokémon are everywhere, and power demands are skyrocketing. Rose sees the crisis coming years ahead. "We can't rely on finite resources forever," he declares in private meetings. His fix: a bold, reckless gamble on something ancient and unstoppable, Eternatus. Moment. Deep beneath Windon Stadium, in the heart of the company's headquarters known as the energy plant, Rose uncovers a secret long buried. Eternatus, the darkest Pokémon, a colossal, dragon-like beast sealed away for millennia. Legends whisper it caused the darkest day, a cataclysm where giant Pokémon rampaged across Galar, turning skies black and land to ruin. But Rose, he doesn't see a monster. He sees salvation, infinite, clean energy from Eternatus's core, enough to power Galar for 1,000 years. No more blackouts, no more rationing, just progress. You have to understand his mindset. Rose is obsessed with legacy. He studied history, crunched the numbers, and convinced himself he's smarter than the ancients who sealed it away. They were primitives, he thinks, fearful fools who couldn't harness true power. So, he does the unthinkable. During the Pokémon League finals, with the world watching, Rose activates the machine. Dynamax energy surges, the seal cracks, and Eternatus erupts into the sky, its massive form blotting out the stars. Red lightning cracks across the heavens, and suddenly, Galar's biggest celebration turns into its worst nightmare. But here's where it gets chilling. Rose didn't just unleash it for energy. His delusion runs deeper. He believes he can control Eternatus, tame it like a prized Pokémon. He even challenges you, the rising champion, to a battle right there in the chaos. His Copperajah stomping through debris as if it's just another Tuesday. "Join me," he pleads, eyes wild. "Together, we'll save Galar." Save it? From what? His own hubris. The risk he unleashes is apocalyptic. The darkest day isn't some fairy tale, it's etched into Galar's bones. Fossilized Pokémon, like Tyranitar and Coalossal, swell to gigantic sizes, rampaging through cities. Hospitals overload, trains derail, and everyday folks huddle in basements as the sky rains poison gas. Eternatus isn't a battery, it's a living catastrophe, feeding on Dynamax energy and multiplying the threat. Rose's solution spirals into the very end of days he swore to prevent. One wrong move, and Galar crumbles, not from energy shortages, but from the corporate saviour who thought he knew better. Now, enter Oleana, his right-hand woman, the iron-fisted secretary with platinum hair and a glare that could freeze magma. She's loyalty personified, executing Rose's orders with surgical precision. Kidnap professors? Done. Sabotage rivals? Handled. She battles like a demon, her Garbodor spewing toxins, while she monologues about the greater good. But beneath that devotion lies something darker, corporate sins buried in Macrocosmos's vaults. Oleana isn't just following orders, she's complicit in the cover-ups, experiments on Dynamax, hushed-up accidents in the energy plant, and whispers of unethical Pokémon research, all shielded by her. While Rose dreams big, she handles the dirt. Remember the Rose Tower? That spiraling skyscraper piercing the clouds? It's not just offices, it's a fortress hiding labs, where Pokémon are pushed to breaking points, all in pursuit of that energy dream. Oleana silences whistleblowers, intimidates gym leaders, and even poses as her boss to throw off investigators. Her loyalty blinds her to the madness, or maybe she sees the sins and embraces them. Think about the human cost. Trainers like you start noticing oddities early. Power flickers during battles. Executives vanish into the stadium's underbelly. And then the league itself becomes a stage for Rose's folly. He interrupts your championship match, drags you underground, and reveals his master plan. Galar needs me, he insists, as if kidnapping the professor and stealing research makes him a patriot. You fight through his grunts, those suited thugs with their corporate Pokémon, like Phalanx and Indeedee, each battle peeling back more lies. As Eternatus rampages, Rose doubles down. He merges with it temporarily, becoming a hulking, energy-infused tyrant, battling you atop the beast itself. The stakes: win and you save the region, lose and it's game over for everyone. His delusion peaks here. Even as the world burns, he can't admit defeat. "This is for the future," he roars, but it's clear. His ego wrote the check his reality couldn't cash. What makes Macrocosmos so insidious compared to past teams? Team Rocket stole Pokémon for profit. Galactic remade the universe. But Rose? He's the wolf in CEO clothing, using legitimacy as his weapon. No grim grunts or evil lairs, just board meetings and PR spins. Galar idolizes him. Kids wear his pins. Fans chant his name. When the truth drops, it's not just shock, it's betrayal. How do you topple a hero who's everywhere? Dive deeper into the fallout. Post Darkest Day, Macrocosmos fractures. Rose vanishes into custody, his empire in ruins. But questions linger. Were there earlier tests? Hidden facilities in the wild area? Oleana's fate seals the corporate sins, arrested for her role, but rumours swirl she knew more. Perhaps even pushed Rose toward Eternatus. Her final battle against you, in the heart of Hammerlock, is poetry. She unleashes her ace, revealing not blind faith, but a twisted belief that ends justify means. Chairman Rose was right, she hisses, even as her Pokémon fall. This isn't ancient evil, it's modern hubris. Galar's corporate shadows show how villains evolve. No more cartoonish syndicates, now it's suited executives with PowerPoints from hell. Rose wanted to be the saviour, but his energy solution nearly doomed us all. You, the player, become the light in that shadow, rallying Hop, Bede, Marnie, and even Leon to seal Eternatus away. Zacian and Zamazenta roar back to life, ancient kings reclaiming their throne. Yet the scars remain, stadiums rebuilt, but trust shattered, energy plants scrutinized, and Rose, exiled perhaps, but his ideas echo. What if another chairman rises? The darkest day lingers as a warning. Good intentions pave the road to apocalypse. You might wonder, how does Galar recover? Trainers bond tighter, gyms reopen, but the corporate veil is torn. Macrocosmos shrinks, rebrands, but the sins fester. Oleana's silence in a prison. It hides ledgers of experiments, Pokémon altered beyond recognition, all for that power dream. Contrast this with older threats. Rocket wanted cash, Rose wants history books. His delusion wasn't malice, it was certainty. The man poured his soul into Galar, built its wonders, then torched it for a vision only he saw. You feel it in battles. His team isn't fodder, it's elite, reflecting his precision. Corvic Knight soaring through storms, his signature bird, a symbol of untouchable heights. Rewind to clues you missed. Early game, Rose chats you up, funds your journey. Bright future ahead, he says, subtle. Then Hammerlock lab raids, macro grunts blocking paths. It builds layer by layer until the stadium shakes. For players, it's peak drama. You're not just battling, you're dismantling an empire. Hop's arc ties in. His brother Leon the champ, blindsided by shadows under his nose. Bede, the rival, uncovers family ties to the core. Marnie fights for Spikemuth's forgotten. It's personal. Eternatus' design, genius terror. That skeletal frame pulsing purple, eyes like voids. It doesn't roar, it hums doom. Rose riding it, pure nightmare fuel, but victory, bittersweet. You catch Eternatus, purify it, but Rose fades into regret. I wanted to be remembered, his words haunt, villainy with pathos. Galar's lesson, power corrupts absolutely, especially when corporate. Shadows longest from tallest towers, and just when you think the threats end, Galar's fanatic fringe stirs. Hooligans and diehards who blur lines between fandom and frenzy, while Paldea's rebels flip the script entirely. Up next in Chapter 14, Galar's fanatic fringe and Paldea's rebels. You won't see their twists coming. Galar's fanatic fringe, and Paldea's rebels. What if I told you that by the time Pokémon reached its 8th and 9th generations, the so-called evil teams had traded in world-ending schemes for something far more chaotic, like rowdy football hooligans and teenage rebels skipping class? In Galar and Paldea, the threats aren't about remaking the universe or stealing every Pokémon in sight. They're about fanatic fandom and fighting back against everyday bullies. Welcome to the era where villainy gets a punk rock makeover. Let's kick things off in Galar, the land of stadium battles and curry cooking contests. You arrive fresh off the boat from Postwick, your starter Pokémon buzzing with energy, ready to take on the gym challenge. But before you even reach the first badge, bam, you're staring down a horde of black and pink clad goons on motorbikes, blasting horns and chanting like it's the championship match of the century. This is Team Yell, and they're not here to conquer the world. They're here to hype up their idol, Marnie. Crew. Face paint smeared across their faces, wild hair spiked with gel, and outfits that scream underground concert pit. They're Marnie's biggest fans, the kind who travel in packs, blocking roads in the wild area just to drown out. Piers' supporters, during her matches, you try to squeeze past on your bike, and they swarm you, tossing out Pokémon like Nickit and Thievel, not to battle for domination, but to stall you long enough for Marnie's theme music to hit max volume. It's obnoxious, sure. You'll curse their names after the 10th ambush, but evil? Hardly. These aren't calculating criminals plotting in shadowy lairs. Team Yell's origin story is pure fan obsession. Marnie, the challenger from Spikemuth, with her shadowy Morpeko and that gritty attitude, captured their hearts. Spikemuth's her hometown, a rundown industrial spot overshadowed by the glitzy stadiums of bigger cities. Her fans see her as the underdog queen, fighting against the league's corporate gloss. So they form this cheer squad from hell, turning every gym battle into a riot. They pelt rivals with noise, heckle from the stands, and even crash the big leagues at Wyndon Stadium. Take the Motostoke Stadium showdown. You're grinding for your second badge against Carbu, but Team Yell's already there, waving flags and revving engines outside. They don't steal your Pokémon or unleash legendaries. They just make everything louder, messier, more alive. And when Marnie steps up against you later, her grunts cheer so hard they nearly topple the barriers. It's chaos, but it's loyal chaos. No grand manifesto, no doomsday device, just people who found purpose in screaming for their girl. You might think, wait, aren't they blocking progress? Forcing battles? Yeah, they are nuisances, but peel back the aggression and you see kids and adults alike who've latched onto Marnie as their escape. Spikemuth's decline hit them hard, factories shuttered, dreams deferred. Marnie's rise gives them something to believe in. They're not recruiting for crime, they're tailgating for a concert that never ends. By the end of your journey, when the real threat emerges with Chairman Rose and Eternatus, Team Yell fades into comic relief. They scatter, still chanting Marnie's name, proving they were never the true fringe. Just loud, misguided superfans who wouldn't know evil if it wore a rival jersey. But hold on, because across the sea in Paldea, the rebellion turns darker, more personal. Swap Galar's stadium roars for open-world deserts and starry skies, and you meet Team Star. No more cheer squads. These are dropouts who've built fortress bases across the map, from the arid deserts near Casaroya Lake to the snowy peaks of Glaciado Mountain. You stumble on their first outpost in the East Province, a massive purple star emblazoned on a wrecked starship hull, surrounded by revved-up fans and a small army of Pokémon ready to rumble. Team Star isn't about fandom. They're survivors. It starts with the bullying. Paldea's Academy is this prestigious school where every kid's supposed to chase badges and terrestrialize their dreams. But for a group of students, it was hell. Endless torment from classmates, mocked for their quirks, their Pokémon, choices, their very existence. Giacomo, the leader with his motorcycle obsession and gravelly voice, got pushed around for his tough exterior. Mila, fiery and unapologetic, dealt with whispers about her punk style. Sam, the tech whiz, hid behind gadgets to avoid the jeers. Ortega, ever the perfectionist, cracked under the pressure of fitting in. Eerie, sweet but fierce, watched her friends break one by one. They couldn't take it anymore, so they walked out, declaring war on the system. Not with bombs or legendaries, but with bases. These aren't hideouts, they're statements. Each leader runs a themed camp. Giacomo's mechanical maze in the east, Mila's volcanic playground in the west, Sam's frozen tech lab up north, Ortega's pristine training ground in the south, and Ares' poison paradise on the island. You approach and their scouts, Toxtricity blasting electric riffs, Reaver Vroom engines roaring, challenge you to a 5-on-1 raid battle. Win and you blow up their entrance, but they just rebuild, tougher. Their fight? It's against the Academy's zero-tolerance bullies and the adults who looked away. Team Star's big play is Operation Starfall. They lure in tormentors with fake raids, then pummel them with numbers until they quit school or shape up. It's vigilante justice, Paldea style. No world domination, just payback. You infiltrate as a transfer student, uncovering logs that humanize them, Giacomo's poetry about isolation, Mella's rants on authenticity, Sam's blueprints for better worlds, Ortega's journals on failure, Erie's letters begging for forgiveness. And here's the revelation that hits you like a hyperbeam. These kids never wanted destruction. Ortega especially embodies it. The guy who obsessed over perfection, joining Team Star to find a family that accepted his flaws. They weren't tearing down Paldea. They craved belonging. Bullied outcasts forming their own tribe, rules be damned. The Academy called them delinquents, but they saw themselves as rebels with a code. Fight fair in bases, protect the weak, blast music to drown out pain. Dive deeper into their stories, and it gets raw. Remember storming Giacomo's base? His Scovillain and King Ambit hit like trucks, but after, he admits it. The bike gang aesthetic hides a kid who just wanted friends to ride with. Mela's Slitherwing terrors the sands, her fire types mirroring her rage, yet she confesses the bullying left scars deeper than any burn. Sam's electric army in the snow? It's her shield against vulnerability. Ortega's base is a gym of mirrors, forcing you to face your limits, just like he did his. Ares the Heartbreaker, her Clodsire and Meowscarada pack emotion, and her backstory with her childhood friend reveals the toll of loyalty. You dismantle their operations, badge by badge, but it's not victory over evil. It's tough love. The leaders scatter, some returning chastened, others changed. Paldea's open world lets you see the aftermath. Empty bases reclaimed by nature, a testament to kids who fought fire with fire. Team Star forces you to question, is rebellion always wrong? When the real shadows loom, like the paradox Pokémon paradoxes or AI schemes, they're footnotes, not apocalypses. So why do these teams matter? Because they shatter the mold. Team Yell's chaos shows fandom unchecked is disruptive, but harmless. Team Star proves pain breeds revolutionaries, not conquerors. Ortega and his crew sought pockets of belonging amid rejection, turning bases into homes instead of fortresses of doom. No stolen legendaries, no mass extinctions, just human stories in a Pokémon world. You've journeyed through Galar's fringes and Paldea's outcasts, feeling the shift from cosmic threats to street-level struggles. But what happens when we pull back and trace how these teams evolved from rocket syndicates to today's rebels? Stick around for Chapter 15, The Evolution of Evil Teams, where we'll decode the patterns, spot the twists you never saw coming, and reveal why Pokémon's villains keep getting smarter. You won't want to miss how it all connects. The Evolution of Evil Teams. Over the first 3 generations of Pokémon, every major villainous team operated like a classic crime syndicate, hell-bent on theft, exploitation, and raw power grabs. Team Rocket set the template with their Pokémon heists and dreams of world domination through black market profits. Then Hoenn's team, Aqua and Magma, escalated it, chasing ecological Armageddon to flood or scorch the planet for their twisted visions of paradise. But by Sinnoh, something cracked open. Team Galactic ditched the mobster vibes entirely. Cyrus and his crew weren't in it for cash or turf wars. They preached a cold, ideological purge. Destroy emotions, shatter the universe with Dialga and Palkia, and birth a sterile new reality. No more sneering grunts in uniforms. Now you had philosophers in lab coats plotting existential resets. You felt that shift, right? The bad guys stopped being cartoon crooks and started sounding like cult leaders with manifestos. That pivot hit harder in Unova with Team Plasma. On the surface, they screamed liberation, free the Pokémon, end the abuse, noble cause you'd think. But peel back the layers and Getsy's reveals the scam. A hypocritical power play to corner the entire Pokémon market for himself. Ideology as a mask for control. Kalos's Team Flare took it further into beauty-obsessed eugenics. Lysandra's ultimate world meant wiping out most of humanity with an ancient superweapon, hand-picking survivors for his aesthetic utopia. These weren't syndicates anymore. They were extremists wielding big ideas like weapons, religion-like zeal for land expansion, emotionless perfection, Pokémon freedom turned tyranny, or curated extinction. Each one forced you to question, is the real evil the plan, or the fanaticism driving it? Think about how that evolution mirrors our own world. Early games gave you clear-cut foes. Steal a Pokémon, punch 'em. Out, move on. Satisfying black and white justice. But as Pokémon matured, so did its villains. Galactic Cyrus wasn't just evil, he was broken, hating his own humanity. Plasma's N was a sympathetic pawn, raised in isolation to believe his lies. Flare's scientists dressed like fashion icons, spouting poetry about life's ugliness. You started rooting against their dreams, not just their goons. These teams humanized villainy by giving it philosophy. Crime syndicates rob banks, extremists remake society. And you, the player, became the defender of messy, imperfect reality. Fast forward to Alola, and the pattern explodes into something unrecognizable. Team Skull bursts onto the scene, not as world enders, but as punk kids causing petty chaos. Shady house raves, small-time thefts, Pokémon battles for clout. Gusma's crew feels more like high school dropouts, venting frustration than apocalyptic threats. No legendaries, no doomsday devices, just social misfits flipping off authority. You dismantle their empire in a day, and it stings because they're not monsters. They're bullies with daddy issues. Then Ether Foundation flips the script entirely. White suits, Paradise Labs, saving Pokémon. They look like heroes, but Lucamine's obsession cracks the multiverse wide open, unleashing Ultra Beasts in a fit of personal madness. Hidden villains, right under your nose. No uniforms screaming bad guy, just a sleek corporation with a deranged CEO. Galar doubles down on this modern twist. Team Yell, they're football hooligans cheering for Marnie, blocking roads and spray painting cheers. Annoying fans, zero evil intent. Macrocosmos seems like a megacorp solving the world's energy woes. Chairman Rose promises infinite power via Eternatus. Noble, until his reckless shortcut nearly dooms everything. Again, the real threat hides in boardrooms, not back alleys. Paldea's Team Star cements it, a squad of bullied students rebelling against school torment. They base out in the wilds, picking fights to prove their worth. Nuisance level? High. Apocalyptic? Not even close. Their leader, Cassiopeia, is just a tech-savvy kid online, directing from afar. Social misfits replacing doomsayers, teams now tackle belonging, trauma, identity crises over planet-busting schemes. Why this seismic change? Early gens mirrored gangster movies. Clear hierarchies, flashy bosses, loot-driven plots, perfect for kid-friendly stakes. But Pokémon grew up with its audience. By Gen 7, games wove in heavier themes. Mental health, corporate greed, systemic bullying. Villains evolved to match. Crime syndicates felt dated. Ideological extremists added moral grey areas. You debated Plasma's rhetoric in forums, questioned if Flair's beauty quest had a point. Now modern teams misdirect you entirely. Skull and Star seem villainous at first glance, disruptive, uniform-wearing punks. But they're symptoms of bigger problems: neglectful systems, isolation. The true heavies lurk elsewhere: Aether's facade, Rose's ambition. Doomsayers with world-ending buttons gave way to everyday threats disguised as normalcy. You don't punch a shadowy cabal, you expose the rot in plain sight. Let's break it down generation by generation, so you see the arc crystal clear. Kanto and Johto, pure syndicate. Rocket's motto echoes mob hits, putting the tender, loving criminal in the service of crime. Johto reprise, same grunts, bigger boss dreams. Hoenn refines it slightly. Aqua and Magma have eco-ideals but still grunt armies and theft ops. Sinnoh shatters the mold. Galactic's HQ is a spaceship. Plans involve time-space rifts. No theft, all theory. Unova layers deception. Plasma parades. Ideals publicly, cons players, and NPCs alike. Carlos goes glamorous. Flare salons hide doomsday cults. Alola fragments it. Skull's surface chaos hides Aether's abyss. Galar scatters threats across society. Yella's comic relief, Macro as tycoon gone wrong. Paldea, stars just angsty teens, no central boss cabal at all. This isn't random. Game Freak's signalling how evil adapts. Old school teams broadcast menace. Black R's, red R's, dramatic entrances. You spot them from a mile away, gear up for boss rushes. Modern ones blend in. Aether Paradise is a tourist trap. Macro's stadiums host your league challenge. Starbases look like abandoned academies. Hidden villains force you to think, who's really pulling strings? Social misfits make you empathize. Skull grunts defect easy. They crave purpose. Star leaders bare souls in stories, victims turning aggressors. Doomsayers like Giovanni or Cyrus, unrepentant. These new foes, redeemable, human. You feel the emotional punch. Beating Rocket, triumph over thieves. Toppling Galactic, save existence. But crushing Team Skull? It's like breaking up a street gang. Bittersweet, because Guzma's bravado crumbles to loneliness. Aether's reveal. Betrayal gut punch. Lucamine's family drama hits maternal instincts. Rose, ambition blindsided by good intentions. Star, you side with their pain against faceless school admins. Evil humanized means stakes feel personal. Not save the world every time, but fix what's broken in people. Recent teams weaponize relatability. Bullied kids radicalize. CEOs justify risks for greater good. Sound familiar? Pokemon's mirroring society. Threats evolve from overt crime to subtle ideologies and systemic fails. Poke deeper into examples, and it gets richer. Take Team Skull's daily grind. You infiltrate their shady house, battle waves of goons on Salandit and Raticate. Petty, sure, but their chance. We do what we please, echo real disenfranchised youth. Guzma's Golisopod falls. He rants about proving strength. No multiverse conquest, just fragile egos. Contrast Aether, pristine halls, conservation speeches. Then Nihilego possession warps Lucamine into a beast-obsessed tyrant. Ultra wormholes spit otherworldly horrors. Hidden evil thrives on trust. You deliver Cosmog to them, unwittingly fueling the plot. Galar's macrocosmos arc builds slow-burn dread. Rose chats you up at the stadium, all smiles and sponsorships. Eternatus awakening, his solution to blackout spirals into darkest day. No evil laugh, just flawed leadership. Team Yell, comic fodder, pom-poms and hype. Paldea's Team Star amps the tragedy. Each base raid reveals backstories. Mela fled abuse, Atticus chases goth identity, Ortega's perfectionism broke him. Their terrorist label? School propaganda. You uncover its rebellion against endless bullying. Modern twist perfected. Misfits as red herrings, true darkness in apathy or obsession. This evolution redefines Evil Team. Early ones unified under crime lords, Giovanni's empire spanned regions. Now, fractured, deceptive. Rainbow Rocket in Ultra Sun Moon nods back, uniting bosses multiverse style, but it's fan service. Core games push forward. Villains as organizations you infiltrate, ideologies you dismantle, misfits you understand. Why humanize them? Depth. Rocket's Jesse and James got comedy spin-offs. N became a protagonist ally. Guzma mentors post-game. Empathy breeds nuance. You question, reflect, connect. Games reward compassion, alongside battling. Spot the pattern payoff. Syndicates to extremists was step 1. Motive upgrade from greed to zealotry. Modern era? Subversion total. Hidden players like Lucamine or Rose embody real-world villains, unassuming until catastrophe. Social misfits like Skull or Star replace bombastic doomsayers, grounding threats in psychology. You don't fear their plans, you pity their pain, exposing how isolation breeds chaos. Pokemon's genius, evil evolves with us, from heists to heresies to heartaches. But what endures from all this? The shadow they cast on heroes, regions, even the series itself. Their legacies twist in ways you never expected. Failures that shaped champions, ideologies echoing forward. Stick around for Chapter 16, Legacy of Pokemon's Villains, where we unpack how these teams forever change the Pokemon world. You won't see some champions the same way again. Legacy of Pokemon's Villains? Over 2 decades, Pokemon's villains have evolved from petty thieves to universe-shattering threats. But which team truly ranks as the most dangerous of all? Today, we're diving into their legacy by ranking the top 5 most perilous organizations and their leaders, based on sheer scale of destruction, cunning deception, and long-term impact. You know these names, but have you ever stacked them up side by side? Let's settle this once and for all. Starting at number 5, we have Team Rocket, the original crime syndicate that kicked off the entire saga. Led by Giovanni, that stone-cold boss hiding behind a gym leader facade, they stole Pokemon for profit and power grabs. Remember the radio tower takeover in Johto, or their bird Pokemon extortion schemes? Ruthless, sure, but their plans stayed grounded in greed. Bank heists, smuggling rings, and the occasional Mewtwo experiment. They endangered trainers and Pokemon alike, but never tipped into world-ending territory. Giovanni's real danger was his persistence. Even after defeats, he bounces back, like in the Rainbow Rocket timeline. Solid threat level, but outclassed by what came next. Number 4 goes to Macrocosmos in Galar, spearheaded by Chairman Rose. On the surface, an energy conglomerate solving a power crisis. Sounds noble, right? Wrong. Rose unleashes Eternatus, that poison dragon capable of dynamaxing the entire region into chaos. The darkest day wasn't just a weather event, it warped reality, turning Pokemon feral and cities to rubble. Rose's betrayal hit hard because he manipulated Leon, the champion, and played the hero card until the end. His greater good excuse masked a god complex, risking billions for his vision. Galar barely survived, proving modern corporate villains can be just as deadly as cults. Climbing to number 3, Team Galactic under Cyrus takes the ideological plunge. This Sinnoh squad wasn't content with domination. They wanted to erase the old universe and build an emotionless paradise using Dialga and Palkia. Cyrus's philosophy: emotions cause pain, so delete them entirely. Spear pillar showdowns, late guardians kidnapped, the whole distorted world shtick. It was apocalyptic poetry. His distortion world exile didn't end the threat. Galactic remnants linger, and Cyrus's cold logic influenced later villains. If Rocket was street-level crime, Galactic was cosmic reset. You felt the chill in every encounter, wondering if reality itself hung by a thread. But number 2, that's Team Flare, Kalos's fashion-forward fanatics, led by Lysandra. Their beautiful world, meant ultimate life weapon, firing Zygarde's core to wipe out most of humanity and Pokémon, leaving an elite few. Lysandra's charisma sold it as progress, but it was eugenics on steroids. The Carlos War, Geosenge flares, that holographic king from 1,000 years ago, it all built to a genocide plot. Lysandra died believing he was right, and Flare's tech lingered as a shadow. More personal than Galactic's detachment, deadlier than Rose's blunder. They ranked survivors like a twisted beauty contest, making you question if any trainer was safe, and claiming the top spot as the most dangerous team and leader duo, Ether Paradise and Lusamine from Alola. Why them over Flare or Galactic? Scale and subversion? Ether posed as a conservation group, Ultra Beast Research Paradise, until Lusamine cracked open Ultra Wormholes, flooding Alola with otherworldly monsters. Her obsession with Nihilego fused her into a beast herself, unleashing Pheromosa, Buzzwole, the works. Ultra Space Rifts threatened multiversal invasion. Not just one region, Lusamine's maternal madness targeted her own kids. Lily and Gladion, blending personal horror with planetary peril. Post-game, she reformed somewhat, but the precedent, open portals to infinite threats, no one else, combined benevolence facade, family betrayal, and interdimensional Armageddon like that. Ether redefined danger by hiding in plain sight. There you have it, your definitive ranking of Pokemon's deadliest teams. Ether and Lusamine at 1, Flare and Lysandra at 2, Galactic and Cyrus 3, Macrocosmos and Rose 4, Team Rocket and Giovanni 5. What do you think? Did I miss anyone? Like Aqua or Magma's legendary floods? Drop your rankings below. But the legacy doesn't stop at rankings. Fans have wild theories about where villains go next, especially with multiverse ties exploding open. Remember Team Rainbow Rocket from Ultra Sun and Moon? Giovanni pulls leaders from alternate worlds, where his rocket conquered Kanto, Archie flooded Hoenn, Maxie scorched it dry, Cyrus half succeeded, Lysandra picked his Utopia. It's a villain hall of fame, hinting Game Freak loves multiverse what-ifs. Theories swirl that future games revisit this. Imagine a Gen 10, where Rainbow Rocket invades Paldea, recruiting Rose for energy weapons or Team Star for chaotic ground troops. One popular fan idea ties Scarlet and Violet's Paradox Pokémon to villains, those ancient and future beasts from Area Zero. What if a new team engineers time rifts, led by a Professor Sada or Turo variant gone rogue, or Team Star evolves into something darker, their bases hiding multiverse experiments? Giovanni's rocket even appears in Masters EX, commanding multiversal grunts. Fans speculate a full game where you hop dimensions, fighting what-if leaders who won. Reddit threads buzz with dark decade concepts. A villain coalition spanning all regions, using Terrastyle to corrupt legendaries across timelines. Multiverse ties deepen the legacy. Rainbow Rocket proves no defeat is final. Alternate Giovannis thrive elsewhere. Theories posit Ultra Beasts as scouts for bigger invasions, linking Ether to a cosmic empire. Even Team Plasma's N returns in remakes, hinting ideological villains reincarnate. Fans predict Gen 11's team as hackers manipulating Pokédex data, creating fake legendaries via AR tech, tying to Pokémon Go's real-world layers, or eco-terrorists awakening Ogerpon's loyal 3 en masse, multiverse style. These aren't baseless. Pokémon Horizons anime already teases interdimensional travel, and Legends Arceus' time rifts scream expansion. Escalation. Future teams aren't region-locked. A pan-global syndicate recruits disillusioned members like Guzma from Skull or Marnie from Yell, blending petty crime with high stakes. Theories link it to the Battle Tower's mysterious bosses or mystery dungeon guilds as precursor orgs. One viral fanfic series posits a Team Nexus, merging all leaders via Giratina's distortion, invading from Hisui's past. With Pokemon's maturity, villains mirror real-world issues. Cyber threats, climate denial like Aqua Magma, corporate overreach like Rose. But multiverse amps it. Infinite threats mean infinite stories. This evolution reflects Pokemon's own growth. Early villains like Rocket were cartoonish foes for kids to beat easily. Black suits, mechs exploding comically. Johto refined it with persistence. Then Hoenn's eco-wars added nuance. Who owns the land? Sinnoh questioned existence itself. Unova's plasma faked liberation to expose trainer hypocrisy. Flare forced moral choices on beauty versus life. Alola subverted with good guys turning bad, Skull as sympathetic punks. Galar shifted to individuals, Rose alone, no grunt army, mirroring real power in CEOs. Paldea's team star, bullied kids fighting back, barely villains. No apocalypses, just teen angst, school rebellion. It's Pokémon maturing, from kid-safe baddies to commentary on belonging, identity, corporate greed, environmentalism. Villains grew complex as we did. Less muahaha, more, are they wrong? Stars' bases echo real protests. Ether's paradise hides abuse scandals. Game Freak says we're grown, so threats internalize. Your rival, your professor, your friends. This legacy proves Pokémon villains aren't just obstacles. They're mirrors to society's shadows, scaling from theft to existential dread. And as multiverse doors creak wider, imagine the chaos ahead. But here's the real kicker. How these antagonists have shaped not just games, but our understanding of heroism itself.